Nathan slapped me in front of half the campus for a girl he had known for 12 days. The music stopped first, then the laughter, then Chloe Bennett pressed one hand to her trembling mouth and whispered, "I didn't mean to cause trouble," while my fiancé stood between us like I was the threat. My cheek burned, but I did not cry. I looked at Nathan, at the hand he had just used on me, at the ring he had placed on my finger 6 months earlier, and I understood something with a cold, clean certainty. He thought love meant I would stay, he thought history meant I would forgive him, he thought one public apology, one private explanation, one carefully worded excuse would be enough to put me back where he wanted me. I reached up, touched the corner of my mouth, and saw a faint smear of blood on my fingertip across the room. My best friend Maya had her phone raised, recording. Nathan lowered his voice. "Evelyn, don't make this worse." I slipped off my engagement ring under the table, closed my fist around it, and smiled for the first time that night. "I won't," I said. "I'll make it exact." He stared at me like he had not heard me correctly. That was Nathan Reed's first mistake. His second was thinking the room still belonged to him. The welcome party had been his idea. Student council had organized it for transfer students and international exchange students. But everyone knew it was really another stage for Nathan. He was president of the Campus Policy Society, finalist for the Harper Fellowship, son of one of the university's largest donors, and the kind of man people forgave before he even apologized. I had helped him prepare the speech he gave at the beginning of the night. I had edited it at 2 in the morning while he slept with his head on my lap. I had replaced 3 arrogant lines with something warmer. I had reminded him to thank the First Generation Students Committee. I had ironed the navy shirt he was wearing when he hit me. That was the kind of woman I had been. Useful, loyal, quiet enough to be loved when convenient. Chloe Bennett had arrived on campus less than 2 weeks ago with bright eyes, soft sweaters, and the helpless confidence of someone who knew exactly how to be rescued. She transferred from a small liberal arts college after what she called a difficult social situation. No one asked details because Chloe knew how to leave empty spaces in a story. Nathan filled those spaces for her. He showed her the library, he introduced her to faculty, he added her to group chats. He told me she had no friends here and that I should try to be kind. I had tried that night. I had brought her a name tag when she claimed she could not find one. I had shown her where the drinks were. I had stepped aside when she touched Nathan's arm during his speech and said, "You make this place feel less terrifying." Then, 15 minutes before the slap, I saw her standing near the coatroom with 2 girls from the Student Media Club. She was laughing, not nervous laughter, not shy laughter, sharp, easy laughter. The moment she saw me, her shoulders folded inward. "Evelyn," she said, voice thin, "can we talk?" I should have walked away instead. I followed her toward the side of the hall, where the music was louder and the lights were lower. She held a paper cup with both hands. "I know you don't like me. I don't know you well enough to dislike you." Her eyes glistened instantly, too quickly, like she had practiced tears the way some people practice signatures. "I'm not trying to take anything from you," she said. "Then don't." Her mouth parted. "Wow," I sighed. "Chloe, I'm not doing this here." I turned to leave. She moved at the same time. Her shoulder brushed mine lightly, almost nothing, and then her cup hit the floor. Red punch splashed across her pale skirt. She stumbled backward, caught herself against a chair, and let out a tiny cry. It was not loud, it did not need to be. Nathan heard it anyway. He crossed the room before I could speak. "What happened?" he demanded. Chloe stared at me as if I had struck her. "Nothing. It was an accident." That was the sentence that ruined me in the eyes of everyone watching, because nothing sounded like forgiveness. "It was not an accident," Nathan said, turning on me. "Evelyn, what the hell?" "I didn't push her. I saw her fall." "You saw her fall. You did not see me push her," Chloe whispered. "Please don't fight because of me." Nathan's jaw tightened. I knew that look. I had seen it when he lost debates, when professors corrected him, when his father dismissed his ideas at dinner. It was humiliation turning outward, searching for someone safer to blame. "Nathan," I said carefully, "step back." He did not. "You have been cold to her since she got here." "I have been patient." "You embarrassed her." She spilled punch on herself. Chloe made a wounded sound. Nathan looked around. People were watching. The room had tilted into silence. Someone near the snack table whispered my name. Then Nathan did the thing I had never imagined he would do. He raised his hand and slapped me. It was not theatrical. It was not a dramatic movie slap with a wide swing. It was short, sharp, and intimate. His palm hit my cheek with the kind of certainty that said he believed he had the right. My head turned for 1 second. I saw nothing but the white edge of a tablecloth. Then sound came back, a gasp, a chair scraping, Maya saying, "What the hell, Nathan?" Chloe whispering, "Oh my God, Nathan." Breathing hard, I slowly turned back. His face had already changed. Anger was fading into shock, but not regret. Not yet. First came calculation. He looked around the room, measuring damage that hurt more than the slap. He was not thinking, "I hurt her," he was thinking, "Who saw, Nathan?" I said. His eyes snapped to mine. I wanted to ask why. I wanted to demand an apology. I wanted to say, after 7 years, after every exam season, every family dinner, every speech I wrote, every time I made myself smaller so he could feel steady, this was what I was worth. But the words died before they left me because the answer was on his face. He thought I would absorb this too. "Apologize to Chloe," he said. The room went colder. Maya stepped forward. "Are you insane?" Nathan ignored her. "Evelyn, just apologize. You went too far." I laughed once. It did not sound like me. Chloe's eyes widened behind him. For the first time that night, I saw fear flicker through her performance. Not fear of me, fear that I was not following the script. I opened my hand under the table. The diamond ring lay in my palm, warm from my skin. Nathan saw it. His expression shifted. "What are you doing?" I looked at Chloe. "You should get that stain treated before it sets." Then I looked back at Nathan. "And you should remember exactly what you did tonight." I walked past him. He caught my wrist, not hard, but publicly, possessively, like a man trying to retrieve something that belonged to him. "Evelyn." I looked down at his fingers. He released me. "Good." At the edge of the room, Maya met me with eyes blazing. She still held her phone. "I got it," she said under her breath. "Everything, from the fall." I nodded once. Behind us, Nathan said my name again. I did not turn around. The hallway outside the event room smelled like floor polish and rain-soaked coats. My face pulsed with each heartbeat. I could hear people murmuring inside, the party folding into scandal behind me. Maya followed me into the women's restroom and locked the door. The fluorescent lights made everything look too honest. I stood in front of the mirror. My cheek was already red, not cartoonishly dramatic, not enough to satisfy people who liked visible evidence, but enough, a mark, a fact. Maya stood behind me, phone clutched in one hand. "I'm going to kill him." "No, fine, I'm going to ruin him." "Not yet." She stared at me. "Eve." I turned on the tap, wet a paper towel, and pressed it gently to the corner of my mouth. "Oh," I whispered. That tiny sound almost broke me. Not the slap, not the room, not Chloe's trembling mouth. That one involuntary sound. Maya's anger softened into something worse. "Oh, honey." I shook my head. "Don't. If you cry, I'll stand here." "I'm not crying." And I did not. I took out my phone. My hands were steady enough to scare me. "Send me the video," I said. Maya nodded immediately. "Do not post it." Her eyes flashed. "Evelyn, promise me, Nathan deserves." I said, "Not yet." She studied me for a moment, then exhaled. "Okay, not yet." The video arrived while we stood there. I saved it to my phone, then to cloud storage, then I forwarded it to my private email, then I created a folder named Welcome Party Incident. Maya watched in silence. "You are freaking me out," she said. "Good." My phone buzzed. "Nathan." I stared at the screen until his name stopped lighting it. Then came a text. "Nathan, where are you?" Another "Nathan. We need to talk before people twist this." Another "Nathan. Chloe is crying. This is getting out of hand." I took a screenshot. Maya read over my shoulder and swore. I tapped Nathan's contact and changed his name from Nathan to Nathan Reed. A small thing, a legal thing, a name for documents, not love. Then I typed one message: "Me. Do not contact me tonight unless it is to put your apology in writing." His reply came fast: "Nathan Reed. Don't make this bigger than it is." I looked at my reflection, red cheek, dry eyes, bare ring finger. I typed back: "Me. I won't. I'll make it exact." Then I blocked his number for the night. Maya leaned against the sink. "What does that mean?" "It means tomorrow morning, we request the venue footage." You saw what happened." "I did. You'll need to write it down." "I will." I dried my hands. The ring sat in my closed fist again. I looked at it, at the expensive little promise Nathan had turned into evidence 6 months ago. He had proposed on the footbridge behind the library. He had cried. I had cried. Maya had hidden behind an oak tree taking pictures. Nathan had said, "You have always been the person who sees the best in me." I had thought that was love. Now I wondered if it had been a warning. I saw the best in him because he needed me to ignore the rest. I dropped the ring into the zippered pocket inside my purse. "Come on," I said. Maya blinked. "Where are we going?" "My dorm." "You don't want to go home?" "Home." Nathan and I had almost moved into an off-campus apartment together. He had called it our practice place. I had paid the deposit because his father was being difficult about teaching him financial responsibility. Nathan promised to reimburse me. He never did. "No," I said, "I'm going to my dorm. Then I'm going to sleep." Maya looked skeptical. "You are not going to sleep?" "Then I'm going to lie down while not speaking to him." "That is close enough." When we stepped back into the hallway, several people were waiting near the event room doors. Pretending not to wait, Sienna Blake stood among them. She was Chloe's closest new friend, the kind of girl who collected secrets and wore them as accessories. Her face was pale. "Evelyn," she said quietly. I stopped. Maya stiffened beside me. Sienna swallowed. "I didn't know she was going to do that." Maya snapped. "Do what?" Sienna looked toward the event room, then away. "I should go," she whispered. She hurried off before I could ask more. Maya and I exchanged a look. "Did you hear that?" she asked. "Yes." "Good, because I am adding it to my mental case file." Outside, rain had started. Campus lights shone against wet pavement. Students moved in clusters, some glancing at me, then quickly looking away. That was the thing about public humiliation. Everyone saw, but most people acted like witnessing pain was a private inconvenience. Maya offered me her scarf. I took it and wrapped it around my neck, though I was not cold. Halfway to the dorm, my phone buzzed from a blocked voicemail notification. Nathan had found a way through using an unknown number. I did not play it. Then Chloe texted me. "Chloe Bennett, I'm so sorry about tonight." I never wanted him to react like that. I stopped walking. Maya looked at my screen and made a sound of disgust. I screenshotted it. Then I replied, "Me, please preserve all messages related to tonight. The school may request them." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again, then no answer for the first time. I felt something like satisfaction, not happiness, not revenge yet. Just the quiet click of a door locking from my side. By the time we reached my dorm, the rain had soaked through my shoes. Maya insisted on coming upstairs. I did not argue. My room was small, warm, and ordinary. A stack of textbooks sat on my desk. Nathan's hoodie hung on the back of my chair. A framed photo of us at graduation from high school stood beside my lamp. In it, he had his arms around me, chin resting on my hair, smiling like the future was already arranged. I turned the frame face down. Maya saw. "You sure?" I looked at the hoodie, then the photo, then my ringless hand. "No," I said, "but I'm done being unsure in his favor." I opened my laptop. My email loaded slowly. At the top of my inbox was a message I had avoided for 9 days. Subject: London Fellowship Exchange Program. Final confirmation required. I clicked it. "Dear MS, Heart. We are pleased to inform you that your placement with the International Media and Governance Fellowship in London remains available. To secure your position for the coming term, please confirm your acceptance by 11:59 p.m. tomorrow." My breath caught. Maya leaned over my shoulder. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Eve." I read it twice, then a third time. Nathan had hated the idea of London. He never said hated. Nathan was too polished for that. He said things like, "The timing is complicated, and long distance puts pressure on couples, and my father expects us to be visible together this year, and once we're married, you can travel as much as you want." Once we're married, once his plans were safe, once my ambition could be scheduled around his comfort. I moved the cursor to the confirmation link. Maya held her breath. I did not click it yet. Instead, I opened a blank document and wrote down the date, time, location, names of witnesses, and every word I could remember from the party. At the bottom, I added one sentence: "Nathan Reed struck me across the face after Chloe Bennett falsely implied I pushed her." Maya read it and nodded. "Exact," she said. "Exact." I repeated. Outside, rain tapped against the window. Inside, my phone kept buzzing with blocked calls, unknown numbers, and messages I did not need to read yet. Nathan thought this was the worst part of the night. He was wrong. The worst part had already happened. What came next was consequence. I woke up the next morning to 18 missed calls, 7 voicemails, and a bruise blooming under my skin like a secret my body refused to keep for a few seconds. I forgot, then my cheek brushed the pillow, pain flashed hot and humiliating, and everything returned, the party, Chloe on the floor, Nathan's hand, the silence, my ring in my purse. I lay still and stared at the ceiling until my breathing evened out. Across the room, Maya slept curled in my desk chair with a blanket thrown over her legs and her phone still in her hand. She had refused to leave after I wrote my statement. "You are not going to sit in this room alone while Prince Entitlement blows up your phone," she had said, so she stayed. That was love, not the grand speech kind, not the bridge proposal kind, the real kind, the kind that slept badly in a chair so you did not have to be brave by yourself. I sat up slowly, my phone buzzed again, unknown number. I let it ring, a voicemail notification appeared, then a text, unknown number. "Evelyn, this is childish. Call me Nathan." I screenshot it. Maya stirred. "Did he use another number?" "Yes, of course he did." She rubbed her eyes. "Does he think harassment looks better from a mystery line? He thinks access is his right." Maya went quiet. I got out of bed and walked to the mirror. The mark looked worse in daylight. Red along the cheekbone, faint swelling near the jaw, nothing dramatic enough for strangers to gasp, enough for anyone who knew me to know I had been hit. I took photos from 3 angles, front, left side, close-up, then I emailed them to myself with the subject line, "Facial injury, morning after incident." Maya watched from the chair. "You sound like a lawyer." "I sound like someone who was trained by dating a man whose family has lawyers." That made her sit up fully. "Evelyn." I turned, her expression was grim now. "You think the Reeds are going to try something?" I think Nathan learned how to protect appearances before he learned how to tell the truth. My phone buzzed again. This time it was his mother, Audrey Reed. She had never called before 10 in the morning. Audrey believed early calls were for emergencies and staff. I let it ring. Maya pointed at the phone. "That woman has the emotional temperature of a marble countertop. Do not answer." "I won't." The voicemail came through a minute later. I played it on speaker. "Evelyn, dear, I heard there was an unfortunate scene last night. I know emotions run high at your age, but these things can be handled gracefully. Call me when you wake up. We love you, and we do not want one difficult evening to damage your future with Nathan." Maya stared at the phone. I saved the voicemail, then I labeled it, Audrey Reed, minimizing incident. Maya threw off the blanket. "Okay, we need coffee, breakfast, and possibly a priest." I almost smiled. Instead, I opened my laptop. The document from last night was still there. I added Audrey's voicemail summary to the bottom, then I created a folder on my desktop, Read Incident. Inside it, I made subfolders, video, screenshots, medical, witnesses, legal. Maya leaned over my shoulder. "Medical. I'm going to the campus clinic." "Good. And after that, the event office, for security footage." "Yes." She nodded. "I'll come." Before leaving, I took Nathan's hoodie from the back of my chair. It smelled faintly like cedar and his cologne. 6 months ago, I would have pressed my face into it when I missed him. 3 months ago, I would have worn it to bed after a fight. Last week, I would have folded it neatly and returned it with a joke. That morning, I put it into a trash bag with his spare debate shoes, 2 books he had left behind, and a silver watch charger. Maya raised an eyebrow. "Trash box. Too generous. I need clean boundaries, not dramatic ones." I found an old cardboard box under my bed and packed his things. The photo frame went in too, face still down. The ring remained in my purse, not because I wanted it close, because it was evidence. We walked to the campus clinic under a gray sky. Word had traveled. I felt it in the way people's eyes slipped toward me, caught on my cheek, then darted away. No one stopped me. No one asked if I was okay. At the clinic, a nurse named Patricia examined my face with gentle hands and angry eyes. "Who did this?" she asked. "My fiancé." The word tasted wrong. "Former fiancé," Maya corrected from the corner. Patricia looked at me. I nodded. "Former." She documented the swelling, noted the redness, checked my jaw, and asked if I felt dizzy. I said no. She gave me an ice pack, recommended monitoring symptoms, and printed a visit summary. "Do you want campus safety contacted?" she asked. "Not yet," I said, "but I want the medical record." "You'll have it." When she handed me the report, she squeezed my fingers once. "Keep copies," she said. "I will." Nathan called again while we were leaving the clinic. This time he used his own number. I stared at the screen. Maya said, No, I'm not answering. But I watched his name flash until the call ended. Then he texted Nathan Reed. My mother is worried. I took a screenshot. Nathan Reed. Chloe is in a bad place. You scared her last night. Another screenshot. Nathan Reed. I know I shouldn't have slapped you, but you need to understand what it looked like. I stopped walking. Maya read it and turned red. With rage I took a screenshot. Then I replied for the first time since the night before. Me. Put your full account of what happened in writing. Include why you struck me. He responded almost immediately. Nathan Reed. Don't talk like that. Me. Like what? Nathan Reed. Like you're building a case. I looked at Maya. She gave a humorless laugh. At least he's not completely stupid. I typed back. Me. Then do not give me a reason to. He did not reply. The event office was located behind the student center in a room filled with folding tables, extension cords, and posters from past fundraisers. The coordinator, a tired graduate assistant named Dean, looked deeply uncomfortable when I explained why we were there. I'm sorry, he said. Security footage requests usually need to go through administration. That's fine. I said, who do I contact? He gave me an email address and advised me to include date, time, location, and reason. I did it while standing at his desk. Subject, request to preserve security footage from welcome party incident. Dear Office of Student Affairs, I am requesting preservation of security footage from the Student Center event hall and adjacent hallway from last night between 8:30 p.m. and 10:00 p.m. This request relates to an incident in which I was physically struck by another student during the welcome party. Please confirm receipt and preservation. Sincerely, Evelyn Hart. Maya read it and whispered, beautiful, terrifying, but beautiful. We sent her witness statement next. Then we went back to my dorm. Nathan was waiting outside the building. He wore the same navy shirt from the night before, wrinkled now. His hair was damp from mist. He looked like he had not slept for one dangerous second. My heart reacted before my mind did. 7 years did not disappear because someone hurt you. That was the cruel part. Your body still recognized the person who used to hold you when you cried. Your memories still threw themselves at your feet like obstacles. Nathan took a step toward me. Evelyn. Maya moved slightly in front of me. He looked at her. Can you give us a minute? No, she said. His jaw tightened. This is between me and my fiancé, former fiancé. I said. The words landed. His eyes flicked to my bare hand. He paled. Where is your ring? Safe. What does that mean? It means it is not on me. He dragged a hand through his hair. Eve, come on. We had a terrible night. I lost my temper. I know that. You struck me. I know. In public. I know. For Chloe. His face shifted. This is not about Chloe. That's funny. She was standing behind you when you did it. He stepped closer. Maya stiffened. Nathan stopped. She was crying. He said, you were angry. Everyone was watching. I thought you had pushed her. You did not ask. I reacted. Yes. My cheek throbbed. I let the silence stretch. He hated silence. He always had. Silence forced him to hear himself. Finally he said, I'm sorry. It should have mattered. It did not. Put it in writing. I said. He flinched. Why are you doing this? I'm asking you to take responsibility. No, you're trying to punish me. I looked at him for a long moment. Nathan was beautiful in the way people with easy lives often were. Clear skin, strong jaw, expensive sadness. I had loved that face through braces, college applications, family pressure, finals week, his first panic attack, his first public speech, his father's contempt, and his own ambition. But that morning, I saw something I had trained myself not to see. Nathan did not believe hurting me was the worst thing he had done. He believed making him face it was worse. You have a box at the front desk, I said. His eyes sharpened. A box? Your things, Evelyn. I walked past him. He followed. You're not serious. Maya turned. She is. I wasn't talking to you. I stopped. Nathan froze. I turned back slowly. Do not speak to her like that. His mouth closed. Good. The dorm front desk worker looked terrified when we entered. The box sat on the floor beside her station. Nathan stared at it like it was a body. You packed my things, he said. Yes, we're engaged. No, you don't end 7 years because of one mistake. I looked at him. You didn't slap a stranger, Nathan. You slapped someone who trusted you. His face twisted. And you're going to throw away everything. No, I'm going to stop carrying everything. I took the envelope with the ring from my purse. For a moment, his eyes softened. Hope moved across his face. Quick and foolish, I did not give him the ring. I held it up. This stays with me until the disciplinary process is finished. The what? The school will be contacting us. His expression went blank, then angry. You reported me. I requested preservation of footage. Evelyn, there were witnesses. There is video. There is a medical record. His voice dropped. You went to the clinic. Yes. Why would you do that? Maya made a choked sound of disbelief. I answered calmly. Because you hit me. He looked around. The front desk worker suddenly became very interested in her computer. Nathan stepped closer, lowering his voice. Do you understand what this could do to me? There it was, not what did I do to you, what could this do to me? I felt the last warm thread between us snap. Yes, I said, I do. Then I left him standing beside the box upstairs. I opened the London Fellowship email. Maya stood behind me again. I clicked the confirmation link. A form opened. Name, Evelyn Hart. Program, International Media and Governance. Fellowship, London. Accept placement. My hand hovered over the trackpad. This was not a vacation. This was not a dramatic escape. This was a different life. A visa process. A scholarship adjustment. Housing applications. Airfare. Fear. Loneliness. And the end of every future I had once imagined with Nathan. My cheek hurt, my inbox held evidence, my ring finger felt light. I clicked accept. The confirmation page loaded. Congratulations, MS. Hart. Your placement has been secured. Maya screamed. I did not. I sat very still, then I began to shake. Maya wrapped her arms around my shoulders from behind. It's done, she whispered. No, I said, staring at the screen. Now it starts. My phone buzzed one more time. Nathan Reed. You can't just leave whenever things get hard. I looked at the message, then at the London confirmation. Then I opened our shared location app and removed him. A notification appeared. You are no longer sharing your location with Nathan Reed for 7 years. He had always known where I was. That ended before lunch. Nathan asked me to meet him at the campus coffee shop the next afternoon, which told me two things. First, he still believed our relationship could be managed like a public relations problem. Second, he did not understand that I was no longer attending meetings where he set the agenda. I agreed anyway, not because I wanted closure, because men like Nathan said the most useful things when they thought they were winning you back. Maya hated the idea. You are walking into a manipulation smoothie bar, she said, standing in front of my closet while I chose a black turtleneck to hide the edge of the clinic tape near my jaw. I know. Then why go? Because he thinks he can explain himself. And, I want the explanation. Maya narrowed her eyes. On record, I picked up my phone. She smiled slowly. There she is. Before leaving, I backed up the welcome party video again. Maya had also written her witness statement and sent it to the Dean of Students. The Student Affairs Office had acknowledged my request to preserve footage. The campus clinic report sat in my evidence folder. Nathan's texts were labeled by date. I did not feel powerful, I felt organized. There was a difference, but it was enough to keep my hands steady. The coffee shop was crowded when I arrived. It always was afternoon, full of students pretending caffeine was a personality. Nathan sat in the corner booth we used to claim during freshman year. He had chosen it on purpose, of course he had. That booth was where we studied for our first political theory exam. Where he told me he loved me. Where I helped him rewrite the personal statement that got him his first internship, where he once kissed my knuckles and said, "You make me better." I wondered how many times I had mistaken dependence for devotion. Nathan stood when he saw me, his eyes went straight to my cheek. Something like shame crossed his face. Good. Then he looked past me, checking whether Maya had come. She had not. I had learned enough from Nathan to know when to appear alone and when not to be alone. Maya was 2 tables away near the window, wearing a baseball cap and pretending to read a sociology article upside down. Nathan gestured to the booth. Thanks for coming. I sat opposite him. He pushed a latte toward me. Oat milk, 2 pumps vanilla. My usual. I did not touch it. His mouth tightened. I'm sorry, he said. I placed my phone on the table, screen down. Recording already started. For what? He blinked. Evelyn. For what? Nathan. He rubbed his forehead. For slapping you. In public. His jaw flexed. Yes, in public. For Chloe. This isn't about Chloe. I leaned back. You keep saying that. Because it's true. Then explain. He looked tired. That might have worked on me once. I used to soften when Nathan looked tired. I used to see the boy whose father corrected his grammar at dinner. whose mother scheduled affection into family portraits. I used to think loving him meant translating his sharpness into pain. Now I waited, he said. You were not yourself that night. I almost laughed. He continued quickly. You've been tense for weeks, ever since Chloe joined the department. You've acted like she was some kind of threat. She became one when you chose her version of events over mine. I saw her on the floor. You saw what she wanted you to see. His eyes flashed. So now she planned it. Did she? Don't do that. Do what? Make everything sound like an investigation. It is an investigation. Nathan stared at me a week ago. That stare would have made my stomach twist. It was his debate stare, his cross-examination stare, the one that made opponents stumble and professors smile. I had once admired it, then I learned what it felt like to be on the other end. He lowered his voice. I know you're hurt. That's not an answer. I know I crossed a line. You committed violence. He flinched. Don't say it like that. Accurately, like I'm some kind of abuser. I looked at him. He looked away first. A server passed with a tray of muffins. Cups clattered. Someone laughed near the register. The normal world continued around us. Indifferent and bright. Nathan leaned forward. I lost control for 1 second. 1 second. Eve, after 7 years, you know me better than anyone. I thought I did. His face tightened. You do? No. I knew who you were when things went your way. That landed harder than I expected. For a moment, he looked genuinely wounded. Then he said, Chloe was shaking, and I was bleeding. He shut his mouth. I pointed to the latte. Do you think coffee fixes that? No. Then why bring it? Because I know what you like. You knew what I tolerated. He sat back, hurt becoming anger now. That's not fair. I almost smiled. Fair. He had slapped me in front of a room full of people, then asked me to be fair. Nathan, when Chloe fell, what did I say? He hesitated. I don't remember. I said I didn't push her. You were defensive. I was accused. She looked terrified. She looked rehearsed. He slapped the table lightly, not loud enough to draw attention but enough to reveal himself. You see, this is exactly what I mean. You can't stand that she needed help. I went still. There it was, the real shape of it. You liked being needed, I said. His eyes narrowed. What? You liked that she made you feel heroic? That's ridiculous, is it? She transferred here alone. So did half the students at that party. She had a hard time at her last school. According to Chloe, you're being cruel. No. I'm being specific. He looked at me with open frustration. Why are you acting like this? Like what? Cold. I thought about that. Cold. My face still hurt when I brushed my teeth. My inbox was full of messages from his mother about grace and discretion. Students whispered when I entered rooms. But I was cold because I refused to soften the edges of what he had done. I'm not cold, I said. I'm done translating your behavior into pain you didn't mean to cause. His mouth opened before he could respond. Chloe appeared beside the table. Of course she did. She wore a cream sweater and no makeup. Or makeup designed to look like no makeup. Her eyes were pink. She held a cup of tea with both hands. Nathan, she said softly, I'm sorry, I didn't know she would be here. I looked at Nathan. His surprise was too slow. He knew she was coming, maybe not at that exact second, but he had told her enough. He had allowed it. Chloe turned to me. Evelyn, can I please say something? No, she blinked. Nathan frowned. Eve, I held up one finger without looking at him. No. Chloe's eyes filled immediately. I just wanted to apologize, then email it. I don't want this to become so formal. It became formal when he hit me. Her lips trembled. Nathan's shoulders tightened. Already preparing to protect her from my tone, the sight was almost useful. It killed a piece of grief I had not yet known what to do with. Chloe whispered, I never meant for him to do that, but you meant for him to think I pushed you. Her face changed just for a second. Not enough for Nathan, maybe, enough for me. Then she recovered. I was scared. Of what? You. Maya coughed loudly 2 tables away. Nathan glanced toward the sound. I saw recognition flicker when he noticed her cap. His face hardened. Is this some kind of setup? I smiled faintly. No, setups involve false impressions. I prefer documentation. He stood halfway. I came here to apologize. No, you came here to control the outcome. That is not fair. You keep using that word. Chloe stepped closer to Nathan, not touching him, almost touching, better than touching, because it allowed him to complete the movement he did. His hand came up lightly behind her shoulder. My stomach did not drop. That surprised me. Maybe the slap had burned out the part of me that still competed. I picked up my phone and stopped the recording. Nathan's eyes dropped to it. Everything in him went still. Were you recording this? Yes. His face flushed. Are you serious? Yes, Evelyn. That is completely, what, unfair, Chloe whispered. I don't consent to being recorded. We are in a public coffee shop in a one-party consent state, I said. But thank you for your concern. Maya made another coughing sound that was definitely laughter. Nathan looked like he did not recognize me. Good, I stood. He stepped around the booth. Wait. I looked at Chloe. If you have any messages about the party, do not delete them. Her fingers tightened around her cup, Nathan said. Stop threatening her. That was not a threat. It sounded like one. No, that was a preservation request. I turned to leave. Nathan followed me outside. The air was cold and damp. Students moved along the walkway, hoods up, backpacks bouncing. Evelyn, he said. I stopped near the bike rack. He came closer, lowering his voice. You are escalating this beyond anything reasonable. You hit me. I said I was sorry. You said you lost control. I did. You also said I made you do it. His eyes flicked. I watched. The realization hit him. He remembered saying it. He knew I had recorded it. That's not what I meant. What did you mean? He looked exhausted again. I meant you pushed me to a point where I reacted badly. There it was, cleaner this time. I looked at him for a long moment, then I said, thank you. He blinked. For what? For clarifying. I walked away before he could answer. Maya caught up with me near the library steps, pulling off her cap. I have never been more attracted to legal phrasing in my life, she said. I let out a breath that almost became a laugh, then my knees weakened. Maya grabbed my arm. Hey, I'm okay. You are not. I will be. We sat on the library steps for the first time that day. I opened the recording and listened to Nathan say, you made me do it. Then again. Not because I enjoyed it, because memory was dangerous, love edited, guilt blurred, loneliness softened. Facts evidence did not. That afternoon, I met Professor Helen Grant in her office. She was a tall woman with silver hair, sharp glasses, and the unsettling ability to make silence feel like a question. Her office overlooked the quad. Books were stacked everywhere. On the wall hung a framed newspaper clipping from her years as a foreign correspondent. She had recommended me for the London Fellowship 3 months earlier. I had almost turned it down. Nathan said it was bad timing. Professor Grant said, bad timing is often what people call a woman's opportunity when it inconveniences a man. I had laughed then. I was not laughing now. She looked at my cheek, then at my bare hand. Tell me what you need, she said. Not what happened. Not are you sure? What do you need? My throat tightened. I accepted London. Her eyes softened. Good. I need to know if the recommendation still stands. It never stopped standing. I may have a disciplinary case here. Against you? No, against Nathan. She nodded once. Then keep your records clean and your statements factual. I am. Good. I pulled the printed fellowship confirmation from my folder. She read it, then signed the departmental approval form without hesitation. When do you leave? She asked. In a week, if housing clears. That is fast. I know. Are you running from him? The question struck hard because it was fair. I looked out the window. Students crossed the quad. Somewhere out there, Nathan was probably telling himself I was overreacting. Chloe was probably crying into someone's shoulder. Audrey Reed was probably calling someone who owed her a favor. Was I running? Maybe, but sometimes running was what people called leaving before the door was locked. I'm choosing myself, I said. Professor Grant smiled slightly. That answer will hold. Before I left, she said, Evelyn. I turned. You do not owe anyone your destruction as proof that you loved them. I carried that sentence back to my dorm like a match protected from wind. That night, I opened every folder connected to Nathan, his Harper Fellowship speech, his policy debate notes, his internship essay, his family foundation application, the shared calendar, the apartment budget, our wedding guest spreadsheet, our future, itemized in documents I had maintained while he called himself decisive. I removed his access from anything I had created. Then I downloaded copies of emails proving authorship, not to humiliate him, to remind myself I had not been standing beside Nathan's future. I had been holding it up. At 11:42 p.m., my phone buzzed with an email from the Dean of Students. Dear MS. Hart, we have received witness material regarding the incident at the welcome party. A preliminary review meeting has been scheduled for Thursday at 10:00 a.m. Please bring any relevant documentation. I forwarded it to Maya, then I printed a copy. Nathan texted 5 minutes later. Nathan read, "What did you send them?" I stared at the message, then I took a screenshot. For the first time since the slap, I felt something stronger than hurt. I felt the beginning of distance. The Dean of Students' office smelled like old carpet, lemon cleaner, and consequences. I arrived 15 minutes early with a folder under my arm and Maya beside me. She wore a blazer she called her courtroom cardigan, which made no sense but somehow gave her the energy of a furious paralegal. I wore a simple grey dress, low heels, and no jewelry except small pearl earrings Nathan had not bought me. That mattered. I did not want any part of him touching me when I said what happened. Dean Wallace's assistant asked us to wait outside the conference room. Through the frosted glass, I could see shapes moving inside. Nathan was already there, so was Chloe. Of course they had arrived together. Maya saw them too. "Do you want me to bite anyone?" "No." Emotionally. "Maybe later." She sat next to me, knee bouncing. I opened my folder and reviewed the tabs: timeline, photos, clinic record, text messages, Maya witness statement, coffee shop recording, transcript, preservation request, Chloe text, everything factual, everything dated. My hands were cold, but not shaking. The door opened. Chloe stepped out first, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. Nathan followed. He stopped when he saw me. He looked polished today, navy blazer, white shirt, serious expression. His family had dressed him for accountability the way they dressed for charity galas, expensive, restrained, designed to imply innocence. Chloe looked smaller beside him. That was probably intentional. Dean Wallace appeared behind them. He was a compact man in his 50s with tired eyes and a voice that sounded permanently careful. "MS. Hart," he said. "MS. Torres. Thank you for coming." I stood. Nathan stepped toward me. "Evelyn, before you go in," Dean Wallace interrupted. "Mr. Reed, I asked that there be no direct conversation between parties until after preliminary review." Nathan stiffened. I looked at Dean Wallace with new respect. Chloe sniffed. Maya whispered, 10 points to Wallace." We entered the conference room. It had a long table, a pitcher of water, 3 chairs on our side, and a digital recorder in the center. Dean Wallace sat across from us with a woman from Student Conduct named MS. Albright. She introduced herself, explained the process, and asked whether I understood this was not yet a formal hearing but could lead to one. "I understand," I said. She asked if I was comfortable proceeding. "I am." Maya squeezed my hand once under the table. Dean Wallace folded his hands. "MS. Hart, please describe what happened at the welcome party." So I did. I did not say Nathan betrayed me. I did not say Chloe was a liar. I did not say my heart broke in front of a room full of people while the man I loved protected someone else from a wound she had staged. I said Chloe asked to speak with me near the side of the event hall. I said she moved into my path as I turned to leave. I said she spilled her drink and fell backward. I said Nathan came over. I said he accused me of pushing her. I said I denied it. I said he slapped me across the face. I said he told me to apologize to Chloe. I said I left. Facts were colder than pain that made them harder to dismiss. MS. Albright asked, "Did you physically touch MS. Bennett before she fell?" "No." "Did you threaten her?" "No." "Had there been conflict between you two before this event?" I paused. "Not direct conflict. But she had become unusually close with my fiancé, and he had repeatedly framed my discomfort as jealousy." Dean Wallace made a note. MS. Albright asked, "Do you have documentation?" "Yes." I slid the folder across the table. Maya sent the video file to the official conduct email. Then she played it on her phone. The room watched. There I was, turning away. There was Chloe, shifting toward me. There was the cup falling. There was her body moving backward after my shoulder had already passed. There was Nathan rushing in. The slap was partially blocked by someone's shoulder, but the sound was clear. So was my head turning. So was Maya's voice. "What the hell, Nathan?" So was Nathan saying, "Apologize to Chloe." Dean Wallace's face did not change, but MS. Albright's pen stopped moving. Maya's jaw was tight. I kept my eyes on the table. Watching yourself be humiliated is different from remembering it. Memory lets you hide inside your own body. Video turns you into evidence. MS. Albright cleared her throat. "Thank you. We will also review the student center security footage once it is provided." Dean Wallace looked at me. "Do you wish to pursue a formal complaint?" "Yes." The word came out before fear could edit it. Maya squeezed my hand again. Dean Wallace nodded. "Then we will proceed according to university policy." There may be interviews with witnesses. Mr. Reed and Ms. Bennett will have the opportunity to respond. I understand, Ms. Albright glanced at my folder. You included a clinic report. Yes. And these text messages, from Nathan Reed and Chloe Bennett after the incident. She read silently, her eyebrows moved once at Nathan's message. Don't make this bigger than it is, then again at, you made me do it, Dean Wallace asked. You recorded a conversation with Mr. Reed at the coffee shop. Yes, state law allows one-party consent. He nodded. We will review the transcript and may request the audio. I can provide it. When the meeting ended, I felt hollowed out, not relieved, not triumphant. Just emptied. Outside the conference room, Nathan and Chloe were still waiting. Nathan stood immediately. Dean Wallace stepped between us. Mr. Reed, you'll receive follow-up communication by email. Nathan ignored him. His eyes were on me. You filed a formal complaint. I did not answer. Dean Wallace repeated. Firmer, Mr. Reed. Chloe looked at me with wet eyes and a small, wounded shake of her head. Why are you doing this? Maya snapped. Because he hit her. You absolute candle in a blackout. Maya, I said. She inhaled sharply and stepped back. Nathan's face darkened. You're enjoying this. I looked at him then. No, I said. That is the difference between us. His expression cracked for 1 second. I saw panic, then Chloe touched his sleeve, and he remembered his role. We should go, she whispered. He looked down at her hand, then at me. I saw him realize I noticed. He removed her hand from his sleeve. Too late. Maya and I walked out first. In the hallway, she let out a breath. I need to scream into a municipal trash can. Later. You are very bossy for someone having a life crisis. I have a checklist. Of course you do. We made it halfway across campus before my phone rang. Audrey Reed again. I considered ignoring it, but something in me shifted. Audrey was not calling to comfort me. She was calling because Dean Wallace had informed Nathan of the complaint, and Nathan had informed his mother, and Audrey had decided it was time to manage me directly. I answered on speaker. Maya's eyes widened. Evelyn, Audrey said, voice smooth. Finally, Mrs. Reed. A pause. She disliked being called that. She preferred Audrey when she wanted intimacy and Mrs. Reed when she wanted distance. I had chosen distance before she could. I understand things have escalated at school, she said. Your son struck me in public. The school is reviewing it. I am not minimizing what happened. Maya mouthed. Yes, you are, Audrey continued, but I do think you should consider proportionality. Nathan has an excellent record. He has never been in trouble. One emotional moment should not define his life. I stopped walking. One emotional moment defined my face. I said silence, then Audrey sighed. Softly, you have always been intelligent. Do not become vindictive now. There it was, the vocabulary of powerful families. Accountability became vindictiveness, evidence became escalation, silence became maturity. I am not being vindictive, I said. I am participating in the process your son created. Her voice cooled. You know, Evelyn, families survive difficult things by keeping them inside the family. I am not in your family. Another silence. This one was sharper. You are upset, she said. Yes, let us have dinner tonight. We can speak calmly. No, I insist. No. A third silence. Maya's eyes sparkled like she was watching live theater. Audrey said, Nathan loves you. I looked across the quad at the building where the welcome party had happened. No, I said, Nathan loves being forgiven by me. I ended the call. Maya stared. What? I think I just watched you become my personal religion. Despite everything. I laughed. It hurt my cheek. That made us both stop laughing. By evening, the campus had divided itself into factions. Some people had seen the slap and were horrified. Some people had heard Chloe's version and thought I had pushed her first. Some people said Nathan should not have hit me, but I should not ruin his life. Those people were my least favorite. They liked justice only when it did not inconvenience talented men. I received messages from classmates I had not spoken to in years. Are you okay? Heard something happened. Is it true? Nathan is saying it was complicated. Chloe looks destroyed. Be careful. The Reeds have influence. I screenshot anything relevant and ignored the rest. At 8:16 p.m., Sienna Blake messaged me. Sienna, can we talk? I stared at it. Maya leaned over. Oh, the plot thickens. I replied me. About what? Sienna, Chloe. Maya and I looked at each other. Then Sienna sent another message. Sienna, not over text. We met her behind the library, near the vending machines. Because apparently scandals turned everyone into amateur spies. Sienna looked nervous. Her blonde hair was tied back. And she wore no lipstick, which made her seem younger. I don't want to be involved, she said immediately. You messaged me, I replied. I know, She looked around. Chloe told us before the party that you were going to start something. Maya crossed her arms. Define something. She said you were jealous, that you had warned her to stay away from Nathan. I didn't, Sienna swallowed. I know that now. What changed? She was weird before it happened. Weird how? I asked Sienna. Twisted her fingers. She kept asking if Nathan was watching. She asked me if Punch stained badly. I thought she was just nervous. Maya's face went flat. Are you kidding me? I don't have proof, Sienna said quickly. Not of that, of something else, I asked. She hesitated, then she took out her phone. There's a group chat, she said. Chloe, me, 2 girls from Media Club. She sent some messages after Nathan started helping her. She opened the chat but did not hand me the phone yet. I'm not proud of being in it, she said. Send me the messages, I replied, or submit them to Student Conduct. Sienna bit her lip. If Chloe finds out, if you hide evidence, you are already involved. That sounded harsher than I meant it to. Sienna flinched. I softened my voice. I'm not asking you to take responsibility for what she did. I'm asking you not to help her lie. For a moment, the only sound was the vending machine humming. Then Sienna nodded. I'll send them. She did it before she could change her mind. The screenshots arrived one by one. Chloe, Nathan is so easy when he feels needed. Chloe, Evelyn acts calm but I can tell she hates me. Chloe, if she snaps first, he'll finally see what she's really like. Chloe, his mom already likes me better. She said I have fresh energy. Chloe, don't worry, by homecoming, Evelyn will either apologize to me or disappear. Maya whispered. Holy hell. My body went cold, not because of Chloe, because of Audrey. His mom already likes me better. I looked at the message until the words blurred. Audrey had known Chloe, or at least encouraged her. This was not just a girl with a crush. This was a replacement audition. Nathan had not only failed to defend me, his family had already begun imagining a version of his future without me, one where the woman beside him did not know too much, had not written too many drafts, had not seen him weak, had not supported him before he looked impressive. Chloe was not stealing my place had been offered. I saved the screenshots. Sienna looked at me with tears in her eyes now, real ones. Maybe, I'm sorry, she said. I thought it was drama. I didn't think he would hit you. I believed her. That did not make her innocent. Send them to Student Conduct, I said. She nodded. That night, Audrey Reed sent a formal dinner invitation through email. Subject, a private family conversation. Dear Evelyn, after reflection, I believe it would be best for all of us to sit down together in a calm and respectful environment. You have been part of our lives for many years. We want to support you, but we also need to protect Nathan's future from unnecessary damage. Dinner tomorrow at 7:00 p.m. at our home. Audrey. I read it twice, then I forwarded it to Maya and Professor Grant. Then I replied, Dear Mrs. Reed, I will attend. Evelyn Hart. Maya called immediately. You are not going into that house alone. I know. Good. I'm going with copies. Not what I meant, but also good. I looked at the ring envelope on my desk. For the first time since Nathan proposed, I wanted to see his family home clearly, not as a future daughter-in-law, as a witness. The Reed house looked exactly like a place where apologies went to be edited. It stood at the edge of town behind iron gates and a curve of manicured hedges, all warm windows and pale stone, elegant enough to appear tasteful instead of rich. I had spent holidays there, birthdays there, 3 Thanksgivings and 1 miserable Easter where Audrey corrected the way I held a serving spoon once. I thought the house felt intimidating because I did not belong to wealth. Now I understood it was designed to make people feel grateful for being allowed inside. A house could be a tactic. I arrived at 6:58 p.m. not early enough to seem eager, not late enough to be accused of disrespect. I wore a black dress, low heels, and a coat with deep pockets. In my purse were copies of my clinic report, screenshots, the conduct email, and the envelope containing the engagement ring. In my phone were cloud backups of everything. Maya waited in a rideshare 2 blocks away with instructions to call campus safety if I did not text her every 20 minutes. You are treating this like a hostage negotiation, she had said. It might be. She did not laugh. Nathan opened the door for a moment. Neither of us spoke. He looked different in that house. Smaller. Somehow, at school, Nathan moved like the campus belonged to him. At home, he moved like a son still waiting to be graded. Evelyn, he said. Nathan. His eyes moved to my cheek. The bruise had faded into yellow at the edge, easier to ignore now. If someone wanted to, he stepped back. Come in. I entered. Audrey waited in the living room beside a fireplace that had never once looked used for warmth. She wore cream silk and pearls. Her husband, Richard Reed, stood near the bar cart, pouring sparkling water into a crystal glass. Chloe sat on the sofa. I almost smiled. Of course she was there. She wore pale blue and looked fragile against the dark leather cushions. Audrey noticed my glance. Chloe is part of this situation. It seemed best to include everyone. No, I said. It seemed strategic. Nathan inhaled sharply. Richard Reed's eyebrows lifted. Audrey's smile did not move. Still direct. I have always appreciated that about you. No, you haven't. The room cooled. Chloe looked down. Nathan said quietly, Eve, please. I turned to him. Do not use that name tonight. He looked hurt. Good. Audrey gestured toward the dining room. Let's sit. The table was set for 5. White plates, silver cutlery, candles, flowers, a performance of civility. I sat across from Nathan, not beside him. Audrey noticed. Richard noticed. Nathan definitely noticed. Dinner began with soup no one wanted. Audrey asked about my coursework. Richard asked about fellowship season. Chloe said nothing unless spoken to. Nathan watched me like a man trying to recognize a room after the furniture had been rearranged, after the plates were cleared by a housekeeper who avoided everyone's eyes. Audrey folded her hands. Evelyn, she said, we all agree Friday night was unfortunate. No, she paused. Excuse me, we do not agree on that word. Nathan rubbed his forehead. Audrey's smile thinned. What word would you prefer? Violent. Chloe flinched. Richard set down his glass. Nathan said, I already told you I was sorry. Privately, I said, carefully, without admitting the reason you did it. I was wrong, he said. Why? He looked at his parents. There it was again. The instinct to check the room before telling the truth. Audrey stepped in smoothly. Nathan reacted to a confusing situation. He regrets it deeply. I asked Nathan. Her eyes sharpened. Nathan swallowed. I thought you pushed Chloe, and when I said I didn't, you were angry. When I denied it, he said nothing. I nodded. Exactly. Richard leaned forward. He had the calm, heavy voice of a man used to boardrooms and settlements. Evelyn, you have every right to be upset, but we need to discuss outcomes. A formal disciplinary record could affect Nathan's fellowship, graduate school options, and public service career. I looked at him. Your son should have thought of that before hitting me. Nathan closed his eyes. Audrey said, punishment will not heal you. No, I agreed, but silence would protect him. I am not interested in doing that anymore. Audrey gave Richard the smallest glance. He opened a leather folder beside his plate. There it was. I almost admired the timing. Richard slid a document across the table, a non-disclosure agreement. Not thick, not dramatic, just a few pages of expensive language meant to turn my pain into a private inconvenience. Audrey's voice softened. This is not meant to pressure you. It simply protects everyone from rumors, online attention, and emotional decisions made in the heat of the moment. I did not touch the document. Nathan looked ashamed, not ashamed enough to stop them. Chloe stared at her lap. Richard said, in exchange, we would be willing to assist with any medical costs, counseling, and academic transition support you may need. We understand you are considering a program abroad. There, so they knew about London. Nathan's head snapped up. Abroad. Audrey's lips tightened. Nathan. He stared at me. You're leaving. I ignored him and looked at Richard. How did you hear about my academic plans? He did not answer quickly enough. Audrey said, the academic community is small. No, it isn't. Nathan was still staring. Evelyn, what does she mean? I turned to him. I accepted. London. His face went pale. The room shifted. For the first time all evening, the Reeds looked genuinely surprised, not because I had been hurt, because I had moved. Nathan pushed back from the table. You accepted it? Yes. When were you going to tell me? I stared at him. He heard himself a second later. His mouth closed. I reached into my purse and took out the envelope. Audrey watched my hands. I opened it and poured the ring onto the white plate in front of me. The diamond struck porcelain with a small, bright sound. Chloe looked up. Nathan stopped breathing. I slid the plate toward him. This belongs to the version of us that ended Friday night. Nathan's voice was rough. Don't, I am ending the engagement. Audrey's face hardened. Evelyn, do not make irreversible decisions while emotional. I made plenty of reversible decisions while emotional, staying, explaining, forgiving, editing his speeches at midnight, paying the apartment deposit, smiling beside him after he let you insult my family. This is what a clear decision looks like. Richard's expression changed at the mention of money, apartment deposit. He said. Nathan looked down. I almost laughed. Of all the things said that night, that was what caught his father's attention. Yes, I said, I paid the deposit on the apartment Nathan said we would share. I also have records of shared expenses, unpaid reimbursements, and academic work I completed under his name or for his benefit. I am not raising those tonight unless necessary, Nathan whispered. Evelyn, I looked at him. You keep saying my name like it is a key. It isn't. Chloe began to cry quietly. Audrey turned to her. Chloe, dear, no, I said. Everyone looked at me. I took my phone from my purse and opened the screenshot Sienna had sent. I did not show it yet, but Chloe saw the group chat name at the top of the screen. Her face drained. Audrey noticed. Good. I placed the phone face down. Before anyone in this room uses Chloe's tears as evidence again, I said, you should know student conduct will receive messages suggesting she intended to provoke a public reaction from me. Chloe stood abruptly. That's not true. Nathan turned to her. What messages? Chloe shook her head. She's twisting things. I smiled faintly. Then preserve your phone. Audrey's eyes were ice. Are you threatening her? No, I am advising her not to destroy evidence. Richard leaned back. He was reassessing now. I could see it. I was no longer the emotional almost daughter-in-law who needed managing. I was a liability with folders. Nathan stood. Chloe, what messages? She looked at him with panic. Nathan, you know me. The old line, the one I had used without saying it. You know me. He had not. He turned back to me. What did she say? I met his eyes. No. His brow furrowed. No, you do not get to use my evidence to decide whether you owe me remorse. That silenced him. I picked up the NDA and read the first paragraph. Then I laughed once. Audrey's mouth tightened. This says I agree not to discuss any alleged physical contact, emotional distress, disagreement, or reputational harm arising from the welcome party. Richard said. Standard language, efficient language, I said. It turns a slap into alleged physical contact and my humiliation into reputational harm. I tore the document in half. Audrey stood. Evelyn. I tore it again. Then I placed the pieces neatly beside my untouched wine glass. I will not sign. Richard's voice dropped. Think carefully. I have. Audrey stepped closer to the table. You will regret embarrassing this family. For years. That sentence would have terrified me, not because Audrey shouted. She never shouted. Audrey used disappointment like a blade wrapped in velvet, but I had already been embarrassed in public by her son. Her threat arrived too late. I stood. No, I said, I regret protecting it. Nathan moved toward me as I walked to the foyer. Evelyn, wait. I kept walking. He followed. Please, London. Ending the engagement. You didn't even talk to me. I turned at the front door. You hit me before talking to me. He flinched. His voice lowered. I was wrong. Yes, I know that now. No, you know there are consequences now. Pain crossed his face. Maybe real, maybe too late. It no longer mattered. He looked over his shoulder toward the dining room, where Chloe's crying had turned into whispers. I didn't know about the messages, he said. That is not my problem. I was trying to protect someone I thought was vulnerable. You were trying to be seen as good. He stared. I said it gently, because it was the truest thing I had said all night. Nathan, you do not love helpless women. You love feeling powerful beside them. His face changed. The door opened behind me before he could answer. Maya stood on the porch, phone in hand, eyes bright with fury. Your 20-minute check-in expired, she said, and I got bored. I had never loved her more. Audrey appeared in the hallway. Who is this? Maya smiled. A witness with excellent reception. I stepped outside. Nathan followed me to the threshold but did not cross it. Rain misted the porch lights. He looked at me like the world had slipped out of order. Are you really leaving me? He asked. The question was so small, so late, so centered on himself that I almost felt sorry for him. I already left, I said. Then Maya and I walked down the stone steps together. Behind us, the Reed house glowed warmly in the dark, beautiful and sealed and useless. My phone buzzed as we reached the car. A new Email from student conduct, subject, formal hearing scheduled. Maya looked at me. Well, I opened it. The hearing was set for Monday, 2 days before my flight to London. I looked back at the Reed house one final time. Nathan stood in the doorway, holding the ring. For once, he was the one left outside the future. By morning, Chloe Bennett had become the saddest girl on campus, not officially, not in any way that could be proven on a flyer, but rumors have a temperature, and by breakfast, hers had warmed every corner of the university. She was seen crying outside the chapel. She was seen sitting alone in the library, staring at nothing. She was seen leaving Nathan's dorm at 7:10 a.m., wrapped in his coat. That last detail reached me through 3 separate people before noon, which meant Chloe wanted it seen. Maya slammed her coffee onto my desk so hard it spilled. She is staging scenes like a community theater villain. I wiped the desk with a tissue. Community theater villains usually have better timing. You are too calm. I'm not calm. You just made a joke about timing. I contain multitudes. I was not calm. I was leaving the country in 5 days. I had a formal hearing in 2. My ex-fiancé was defending the girl who had helped create the situation that ended us. His mother had tried to legally silence me over salad. My face still hurt when I smiled. Calm was not the word. Focused was closer. Focus meant I went to class even though people stared. Focus meant I answered Professor Grant's email about visa documents. Focus meant I called the bank and removed Nathan from the apartment payment records. Focus meant I did not march across campus and ask Chloe whether Nathan's coat was worth the performance that morning. I received confirmation from the student center that the hallway and event hall footage had been preserved and sent to student conduct. I printed the email and added it to my folder. Then I went to the student media office not to publish the video. Not yet. The office was in the basement of the communications building, crowded with mismatched chairs, old cameras, and the smell of burnt coffee. I had worked there sophomore year before Nathan's schedule swallowed mine. Back then, I wrote investigative pieces about housing policies and campus labor issues. I loved it. I gave it up when Nathan said our schedules were becoming impossible. Another sacrifice I had renamed Compromise. The editor-in-chief, Priya Shah, looked up when I entered. Evelyn. She said carefully, "Are you okay?" That question had become a door I did not always want to open. "I'm handling it." She nodded. "What do you need?" "I need to understand the paper's policy on reporting disciplinary cases." Priya leaned back, her eyes sharpened, not with gossip, with professional interest. "On record or off?" "Off, for now, she repeated. I sat across from her and explained without giving her the video. I told her there had been an incident involving a prominent student, that there was a formal process, that I did not want rumors to outrun facts. Priya listened. When I finished, she said, "You know, people are already feeding versions to us." My stomach tightened. "Who?" "I won't name confidential sources unless they authorize it." "Fair, but I can tell you one version frames you as jealous, unstable, and aggressive toward a new transfer student." "Chloe." Priya did not confirm. She did not need to. I opened my folder and placed a sealed envelope on her desk. "What's this?" "A timeline, my statement, and a list of evidence already submitted to student conduct. Not for publication yet. I'm giving it to you so if someone tries to sell you a false version, you know there is documentation." Priya studied me. "You trust me that much?" "I trust your ego." She blinked. "You hate being used," I said. "If Chloe or Nathan tries to feed you a story, you'll verify it because you don't like looking sloppy." Priya smiled slowly. "That is both insulting and accurate." "Good." She took the envelope. "I won't publish without speaking to you," she said. "Thank you." As I left, I passed the glass-walled meeting room. Chloe sat inside with 2 student media staffers. She was crying, of course. Her eyes lifted and met mine through the glass for 1 second. The tears stopped, then she looked down. Shoulders trembling again, I kept walking. That afternoon, Sienna sent the group chat screenshots directly to student conduct. She copied me on the email. Her message was short. "I am submitting these because I believe they are relevant to the incident at the welcome party and to statements made afterward." Attached were screenshots of Chloe's messages. "Nathan is so easy when he feels needed. If she snaps first, he'll finally see what she's really like. By homecoming, Evelyn will either apologize to me or disappear." The last line sat in my chest like a stone. Disappear. It was such a casual word. Chloe had meant socially, romantically, maybe academically. She had no idea how Literal, I was about to make it. I was in the library printing housing forms when Nathan found me. He looked worse than before, less polished, his hair was messy, and the skin beneath his eyes was shadowed. He stood at the end of the row of printers, watching as page after page came out. London housing, he asked. I gathered the papers. Yes, his mouth tightened. So it's real. Yes, I went to your dorm. I know, the front desk told me. You told them not to let me up. Yes, a muscle jumped in his jaw. We stood between printers humming and students pretending not to listen. Nathan lowered his voice. Can we talk somewhere private? No. His eyes flicked to the students nearby. Evelyn, you lost private access when you used public violence. Someone at the next printer froze. Nathan noticed. His face darkened with embarrassment. I could almost see him fighting the instinct to accuse me of making a scene. Instead, he said, I saw the messages. That surprised me. Sienna's, he nodded. Once, Chloe said they were jokes. Do you believe her? He did not answer. There it was again. The delay. A man could slap me in 1 second but needed days to decide whether another woman's written manipulation was credible. I put the housing papers in my folder. Nathan stepped closer. I didn't know about the messages. Yes, you knew you hit me. His face crumpled slightly. Why do you keep saying it like that? Because you keep acting like Chloe's lie is the center of the story. It matters. It matters to the investigation. It does not matter to what you chose. He swallowed. I continued. If Chloe had truly fallen because of me, you still had no right to hit me. I know. No, you know you're supposed to say that. He looked wounded. That's not fair. I stared at him until he looked away again. That word, he said. My mother should not have brought out the NDA. No, she should not have. I didn't know she was going to. But you stayed. He exhaled sharply. What was I supposed to do? Blow up my family at dinner? I almost laughed. You had no problem blowing me up at a party. His face went still. Good. A printer beeped behind me. I took my last page and stepped around him. He followed me into the hallway. Evelyn, please, stop walking away. I stopped. He almost bumped into me. I turned. That is what you don't understand. I'm not walking away to make you chase me. I am walking away because I'm leaving. Panic flashed in his eyes. Real panic. You can't just cut me off. I can, after 7 years. Especially after 7 years. His voice broke slightly. I love you. For one wild second, grief surged up so hard I nearly reached for the wall. Because he did, in whatever incomplete, selfish, hungry way Nathan understood love. He loved me. That was why it had taken me so long to see the danger. Cruel strangers are easy to leave. People who love you badly are harder. I know, I said. Hope lit his face. Then I finished, and it did not protect me. His hope died. I walked away that evening. Chloe posted a photo on her private story. Someone sent it to Maya, who sent it to me with 12 angry emojis. It showed Chloe sitting on a windowsill in Nathan's coat, face turned away from the camera. The caption read, "Some people punish you for needing kindness." I looked at it for a long time, not because it hurt, because it was useful. I saved it. Then I sent it to student conduct with a brief note. MS. Bennett appears to be publicly commenting on the situation while an investigation is ongoing. I am preserving this in case it becomes relevant. Maya came into my room with takeout noodles and found me labeling the screenshot. You are either coping extremely well or becoming a federal agency, she said. Both. She sat cross-legged on my bed. How are you really? I closed the laptop. The room went quiet. My suitcase lay open on the floor, half packed, half waiting. I keep remembering stupid things. I said, like what? The first time Nathan drove 3 hours to bring me soup when I had the flu. Maya softened. The way he cried when he proposed. The night his dad called him weak and he came to my dorm and couldn't breathe. I keep thinking, if those things were real, how did this happen? Maya did not answer quickly. Then she said, maybe they were real. Maybe this is real too. That was the cruelest truth. People wanted clean stories. Villain, victim, lie, mask, reveal. But Nathan had held me when my grandmother died. He had also hit me. Chloe had probably been lonely. She had also planned to make me disappear. Audrey had once hugged me and said I looked beautiful in emerald. She had also put an NDA beside my plate. The truth did not become less ugly because it had once been tender. I ate noodles with Maya on my bed while rain tapped the window at 10:38 p.m. Nathan emailed me. Subject: Please read this. Evelyn, I do not know how to fix this. I know you think I am only afraid of consequences, but that is not true. I am afraid because I do not recognize us right now. I made a terrible mistake. I should never have touched you. I should never have believed Chloe without asking you. I should never have let my family handle this like a legal problem. Please do not go to London like this. Please meet me once before the hearing. Nathan, I read it twice, then I noticed what was missing. No, I accept the disciplinary process. No, I will tell the truth even if it hurts me. No, I will stop Chloe from lying. No, I will correct my mother. He did not know how to fix this because every version of fixing it required him to lose something. I did not reply. Instead, I printed it and added it to the folder. The next morning, I went to the bank. The bank lobby was bright, quiet, and colder than necessary. It was the kind of place where life changes happened under fluorescent lights while someone offered you a clipboard. I sat across from a banker named Melissa and slid my identification across the desk. I need to remove shared access from an account and review payment records connected to an apartment deposit, I said. Melissa glanced at her screen. Are both account holders present? It is not a joint checking account. It is my personal account with authorized transfer access set up for another person. She nodded. We can remove that authorization. Today? Yes. Good. Maya sat beside me, pretending not to watch Melissa's every keystroke like she was defusing a bomb. The account had started as convenience. Nathan's scholarship payments sometimes came late. His father sometimes froze his allowance to teach lessons. I had savings from summer work, tutoring, and the small education fund my grandmother left me. At first, I covered dinner, then application fees, then travel deposits, then the apartment. Nathan always meant to pay me back. Meaning to pay someone back is a beautiful phrase. It costs nothing and purchases patience. Melissa printed a list of transfer records. I highlighted anything connected to Nathan. Apartment deposit, $2 $400 fellowship application fee, $95 suit rental, $180 conference registration, $350 emergency car repair, $620 shared trip deposit, $780 small things, large things, years of things. I had not noticed the total because love had made each payment feel temporary. Melissa removed Nathan's transfer access and printed confirmation. I placed it in my folder. Maya leaned close. How do you feel? Like I found a leak after the floor collapsed. That is poetically depressing. It's accurate. After the bank, we went to the apartment leasing office. The woman at the desk looked up the file and confirmed what I already suspected. The lease had not been signed, but the deposit had been paid by me. Nathan was listed as an intended co-applicant, not financially responsible. Can I withdraw the application? I asked. Yes. But the deposit is partially non-refundable. How much? Half. I thought of the Reed dining room, the NDA. Richard Reed's eyes sharpening at the mention of money. Withdraw it. The woman printed the form. I signed. Another future closed. This one cost $200, cheaper than marrying him at noon. Nathan discovered the document permissions. My phone lit up while I was packing books in my dorm. Nathan Reed. Why can't I access the Harper speech folder? I placed a stack of books in a box. Nathan Reed. Evelyn, I need the final draft by Friday. Another stack. Nathan Reed. Did you delete it? I looked at the message for a long moment, then I replied. Me. I removed your access to documents I created. His response came fast. Nathan Reed. That speech is for my fellowship interview. Me. Then you should write one. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Nathan Reed. This is petty. I stared at the word petty. Not hitting me, not letting Chloe smear me, not letting his family try to silence me, but reclaiming my own work. Petty. I typed slowly. Me. No, this is boundaries. Then I muted him. Maya looked up from where she was wrapping mugs in newspaper. What did he do? He needs his Harper speech. She blinked, then she laughed so hard she dropped a mug. It did not break. Wait. She said, the speech you wrote, the speech I edited, Evelyn, and restructured, Evelyn, and researched. She put both hands over her face. Please tell me you did not also create his source sheet. I said nothing. She groaned. I am going to become a ghost and haunt your past self. I know. No, I don't think you do. That man slapped his ghostwriter. Despite myself, I laughed this time. It hurt less. At 2:00 p.m., I went to the registrar's office to finalize documents for London. Professor Grant had expedited my departmental approval. The fellowship coordinator had sent housing options. I had booked a flight for Wednesday night. Every step felt unreal, not easy, unreal. I expected someone to stop me. Nathan, Audrey, bureaucracy, memory, fear, but forms processed. Emails arrived, payments cleared. The world did not collapse because I made a decision without Nathan. It made me wonder how many locked doors in my life had only ever been curtains when I returned to the dorm. Nathan was waiting in the lobby with the box of his things at his feet. The front desk worker looked miserable, Maya muttered. Persistent fungus. Nathan stood when he saw me. He had changed clothes, but he still looked unsteady. He held a folder in one hand. Can we talk? He asked. No. His eyes flicked toward the front desk. Please. I looked at the worker, who was pretending to read a textbook upside down. 5 minutes, I said. Here. Nathan's jaw tightened. He hated public limits, but he nodded. Maya stood beside me. He looked at her. Is she always going to be here? Yes, Maya and I said together. His face tightened again. Then he opened the folder. Inside were printed pages of the Harper speech, older drafts, covered in my comments. I need the final version, he said. I stared at him. For a second, I truly thought he was joking. He was not. Nathan, I know it sounds bad. Does it? His face flushed. The interview is tomorrow. I can't reconstruct the argument from scratch. You should have thought of that before losing access to work you didn't do. I did work on it. You gave me 3 bullet points and a quote from a Supreme Court dissent you had not read. Maya whispered. Fatality. Nathan ignored her. Evelyn, this fellowship affects my entire future. I know, and you're willing to sabotage it. No, I'm refusing to maintain it. That's the same thing. No, that is what you believe because you cannot tell the difference between support and entitlement. He looked genuinely confused. That, more than anything, told me how much of myself I had given away. He said, I would help you. I laughed, not loudly enough. When? His mouth closed. When did you help me with London? I asked. When did you read my fellowship essay? When did you ask what housing I wanted? When did you offer to rearrange anything for my work? He looked down. I nodded. Exactly. I was worried about us. No, you were worried about distance making me harder to use. His head snapped up. That's cruel. It is accurate. Why are you trying to make me the villain? I'm not. I am returning your actions to you without gift wrapping. The lobby was silent now. Even the upside-down textbook had been abandoned. Nathan's voice dropped. If I lose Harper, my father will never let this go. There it was again. The father, the pressure, the boy inside the man. Once. That would have undone me. I would have softened. I would have opened my laptop. I would have said, okay, but just this once. Then I would have stayed up until 2 fixing his future while mine waited in another tab. I took the folder from his hand. Hope flashed across his face. I removed the pages with my handwritten notes and handed the rest back. These are mine. He stared. Evelyn, you can keep your bullet points. His face reddened. You're humiliating me. No, I said, I'm no longer preventing you from humiliating yourself. Maya made a small sound of approval. Nathan grabbed the folder too tightly. You used to be kind. That one hurt because it was meant to. I stepped closer. I was kind. I said, you mistook that for available. His anger flickered. Behind it, fear. Are you really not going to help me? No. I said I was sorry. You said many things. I love you. I know. His eyes pleaded. I shook my head. Love is not a password. Nathan. He looked like I had slapped him. I did not enjoy that, but I did not apologize. Maya and I went upstairs. At my door, she said, you okay? I think so. Because that was a big one. Yes. Inside my room, I sat on the floor beside my half-packed suitcase and cried for the first time. Quietly at first, then not. Maya sat beside me and did not speak. I cried because I had loved him. I cried because he had asked me for a speech before asking me what it felt like to be afraid of his hand. I cried because I was leaving. I cried because freedom was expensive and still worth paying for. When I finished, my face hurt, my throat hurt, and my suitcase was still half empty, so I kept packing. At 9:03 p.m., Nathan emailed again. Subject: I failed the practice interview. I did not open it. At 9:17 p.m., Audrey called. I did not answer. At 10:02 p.m., Richard Reed emailed. Subject: settlement discussion. I forwarded it to a campus legal aid advisor Professor Grant had recommended. At 10:40 p.m., Chloe posted another story. This one showed a photo of a bruised wrist. Caption: some people leave marks and still play victim. Maya burst into my room holding her phone. Tell me. You saw this. I did. I also saw the problem. The photo was not from that night. The bracelet in the image was from Chloe's spring break photos, posted months before she transferred. I found the old post in 4 minutes, same wrist, same bracelet, same mark, different caption. I saved both. Then I sent them to student conduct. Maya stared at me with open admiration. You are terrifying. No, I said, attaching the images. I am thorough. The formal hearing was in 12 hours. My flight was in 2 days. Nathan had lost his speech. Chloe had made her first provable mistake, and I had finally stopped confusing mercy with self-erasure. The hearing lasted 3 hours. It felt longer than my entire relationship. Student conduct held it in a larger administrative room with recording equipment. 2 panel members, Dean Wallace, MS, Albright, and separate seating areas. Nathan arrived with a lawyer, not a family lawyer officially, because the university did not allow attorneys to speak in student conduct proceedings. But Mr. Caldwell sat behind him anyway. Grey-haired, silent, expensive. Chloe arrived with a tissue packet and no lawyer. I arrived with Maya and my folder. Professor Grant waited outside. She was not a witness, but she had insisted on being nearby. You are not alone, she said before I went in. I believed her. That helped. The hearing began with procedural language, then statements, then evidence. I told the story again. Chloe told hers. She said I had been hostile from the moment she arrived on campus. She said I cornered her at the party. She said I bumped into her hard enough to make her lose balance. She said Nathan reacted badly because he was shocked. She cried twice. The panel listened. Then they played the student center footage. Security footage is cruel in a different way from phone video. It has no emotion, no dramatic angle, no trembling hands. It simply shows bodies moving through space. It showed Chloe approaching me. It showed me turning away. It showed her stepping into my path. It showed her cup tipping before my shoulder made contact. It showed the fall was not caused by force. It showed Nathan crossing the room. It showed the slap clearly. No blocked angle this time. My head snapped to the side. The room went silent. Nathan looked at the table. Chloe stopped crying. The panel played it twice. Then MS. Albright read Nathan's texts aloud. Don't make this bigger than it is. You made me do it. Chloe is crying. This is getting out of hand. My mother is worried. Each sentence sounded uglier in a stranger's voice. Then came Chloe's group chat messages. Nathan is so easy when he feels needed. If she snaps first, he'll finally see what she's really like. By homecoming, Evelyn will either apologize to me or disappear, Chloe whispered. Those were taken out of context. Dean Wallace asked, what context would change the meaning of disappear? She had no answer. Then they showed the wrist photo, the old spring break post, the new caption, some people leave marks and still play victim. Chloe said nothing. Nathan looked at her. Then really looked. I watched his face change as if the truth were arriving late and unwelcome. He turned toward me. I looked away. Too late. Nathan, the panel asked him to speak. He stood for the first time. He did not sound polished. I struck Evelyn Hart, he said. She did not push Chloe Bennett. I believed something that was not true, but that does not excuse what I did. I should not have touched her. I should not have asked her to apologize. My fingers tightened around my pen. There it was, the statement I had wanted days ago. It landed with no power left. The panel asked if anyone pressured him to minimize the incident. His jaw tightened. Mr. Caldwell shifted behind him. Nathan said, my family wanted the matter handled privately. Dean Wallace asked, did they offer MS Hart a non-disclosure agreement? Nathan looked at me, then at the table. Yes, Mr. Caldwell closed his eyes briefly. The hearing ended with no immediate decision, but the direction was obvious. Nathan would face disciplinary probation. At minimum, possibly suspension from leadership positions. Chloe would face charges for false statements and evidence manipulation. The Harper Fellowship Committee would be notified of an active conduct review because Nathan had been a finalist representing university leadership. Outside the room, Chloe ran past me without looking up. Nathan came out slower. He looked wrecked. Evelyn, he said. Maya shifted beside me. I held up a hand. Not dramatically, just enough. No, he stopped. I told the truth. He said, yes, I should have done it sooner. Yes, he swallowed. Does it matter at all? I looked at him. This was the problem with late truth. It was still truth. It still deserved acknowledgement, but it did not reverse the damage caused by its delay. It matters to the record, I said. His face fell. To the record. He repeated, yes, and to you. I did not answer. Professor Grant appeared at the end of the hallway like a blessing in sensible shoes. Evelyn, she said, your visa documents. Cleared. For 1 second, I forgot Nathan was there. They cleared. She smiled. They cleared. Maya grabbed my arm and bounced once. Nathan's face changed. So you're really going? I turned back to him. Yes. When? Tomorrow night. The silence after that was enormous. He looked like someone had opened a window in winter. Tomorrow. He said. Yes, I thought we had more time. You did, I said. You wasted it. I left before he could make that sentence about his pain. The next day passed in a blur of signatures, packing, and endings. I shipped 2 boxes to my parents' house. I donated 3 bags of clothes. I gave Maya my plants because I trusted her more than myself to keep something alive during transition. I met Professor Grant for coffee, and she handed me a small notebook. For London, she said. The cover was dark green inside the front page. She had written, write the record. Do not become the wound. I hugged her. I cried a little then too. She pretended not to notice, which was kind. Nathan called 17 times that day. I did not answer. Audrey emailed once. Subject. Please reconsider public damage. I deleted it unread. Richard's settlement email received a formal reply from legal aid stating that I did not intend to sign any confidentiality agreement and that further pressure should go through university channels. Chloe did not contact me. That was probably the smartest thing she had done all semester. By evening, my dorm room was almost empty. Maya sat on my stripped mattress, watching me zip my suitcase. I hate this, she said. Me leaving? No. Him making your leaving feel like an emergency exit instead of an adventure. I sat beside her. I hate that too. You'll call? Yes. Not like Nathan says call. Actually call. I smiled. Yes. She leaned her head on my shoulder. Good. My flight was at 9:40 p.m. The next night I chose an afternoon shuttle to the airport because I did not trust Nathan not to appear if he knew exact timing, but someone told him. Anyway, of course someone did. The airport was bright, loud, and full of people leaving places they had complicated feelings about. Maya came with me as far as security. She wore sunglasses indoors because she said public crying was for men facing consequences and toddlers. She cried anyway. I checked my suitcase. I kept my documents, laptop, evidence drive, and the ring envelope in my carry-on. The ring was still with me because the hearing process was not fully complete, but emotionally, it had left my hand days ago at 7:58 p.m. Nathan appeared. He was breathless, hair windblown, coat half-buttoned. He scanned the terminal until he saw me. Maya muttered, "Oh, come on." Nathan walked toward us quickly. I did not move. "Evelyn," he said, stopping a few feet away. "Nathan." His eyes were red. I hated that I noticed. "I went to your dorm," he said. "I'm not there. I know that now." Maya stepped back slightly but did not leave. Nathan looked at her. "Please, just 2 minutes." Maya looked at me. "My choice, always my choice now." I nodded once. She moved a few steps away but stayed close enough to intervene. Nathan looked at my carry-on. "You're early." "Yes, I would have driven you." "No." He swallowed. Announcements echoed overhead. A child cried near the check-in line. Someone laughed too loudly by the vending machines. Life refused to become cinematic just because mine hurt, Nathan said. I told them everything. I heard. I withdrew from the Harper interview. That surprised me. He saw it and rushed on. I couldn't go in there and talk about ethical leadership. "No," I said. "You couldn't." He flinched. "I deserved that." I said nothing. He looked down at his hands. "Chloe lied." "Yes, my mother encouraged her." I went still. He continued, voice rough. "Not directly, not like, go ruin Evelyn. But she invited Chloe to lunch after meeting her at the donor reception. She told her I needed someone who understood public life without making things difficult. Chloe told me after the hearing, she was angry and wanted me to blame my mother." I breathed slowly. Audrey's fingerprints had been on this from the beginning. It should have shocked me. It did not. Nathan said, "I'm sorry." "For which part?" "All of it. That is not specific." Pain crossed his face. "I'm sorry I let Chloe make you the enemy. I'm sorry I hit you. I'm sorry I asked you to apologize. I'm sorry I let my family try to silence you. I'm sorry I only understood what you did for me after you stopped doing it." That one pierced. Not enough to change anything, enough to hurt. He stepped closer, then stopped himself. "I don't know who I am without you," he said. "For 7 years, That sentence would have sounded romantic, now it sounded like a warning. That is something you need to find out without using me, I said, his eyes filled. I love you, I know. Please don't say it like that. Like what? Like it's over. I looked toward security, people were moving forward, shoes came off, bags rolled, passports opened, the machinery of departure continued. It is over. His face crumpled, he reached into his coat and took out a folded paper. What is that? I asked. A letter. I did not take it, he held it between us. Please. Maya watched from a few steps away. Tense, I accepted the letter because refusing would have become a scene. And I was done with scenes. I put it in my bag without opening it. Nathan exhaled shakily. Will you read it? Maybe. Will you call me when you land? No. The answer came out clean, he stared. No. No. Just so I know you're safe. Maya will know. I'm your. He stopped himself. Good. You're not, I said quietly. His eyes dropped to my left hand again, as if the absence of the ring still surprised him. I keep thinking if I can just talk to you when everything is quiet. He said, you'll remember us. I remember us. Then how can you leave? Because I remember all of it. That silenced him. The boarding pass felt heavy in my pocket. I said, Nathan, you keep hoping my love will erase what happened. But my love is the reason. I know exactly what happened. I know your good days. I know your fear. I know your family. I know the pressure you live under. I know the parts of you that are gentle. And I still know you raised your hand and chose to protect yourself afterward. His lips parted. I continued. I am not leaving because I forgot who you are. I am leaving because I finally stopped forgetting myself. A tear slipped down his face. I had seen Nathan cry before. The night he proposed. The night his father humiliated him. The night his grandmother died. This time, I did not hold him. Maya came back to my side. Eve, security. I nodded. Nathan looked panicked. Wait, I turned. He said, is there any version of the future where we talk again? The honest answer was maybe. People healed. Time moved. Anger changed shape, but he was not asking about conversation. He was asking for a door. I had learned not to leave doors open just because someone was crying on the other side. No, I said, not the version you want. I walked to security. Nathan followed until the barrier. 12 minutes. He said, give me 12 minutes when you land. One call, please. I handed my passport to the officer. Nathan's voice cracked. Evelyn. I did not turn around, not because I felt nothing, because I felt too much, and feeling was no longer an instruction. After security, I looked back once. He stood beyond the barrier, surrounded by people greeting and leaving and rushing past. He looked young, lost, still beautiful, still not mine. Maya waved both hands and cried openly. I blew her a kiss, then I turned off my American number on the plane. I opened Nathan's letter. It began, Eve, I keep replaying the sound of my hand hitting your face. I stopped reading, not because I forgave him, because I did not need his replay. I had my own. I folded the letter and placed it in the evidence folder. Then I opened the green notebook from Professor Grant and wrote the first sentence of my new life. London does not owe me healing, but I am going anyway. When the plane lifted, my stomach dropped. Below me, the city became lights. Campus disappeared. The Reed House disappeared. The student center disappeared. The version of me who waited for Nathan to choose her disappeared too. Somewhere on the ground, Nathan received the official conduct decision: disciplinary probation, removal from student leadership, notification to fellowship committee, mandatory conduct intervention. Chloe received her own probation retraction requirement, loss of media club position. The consequences were not dramatic enough for a movie, they were real enough for a record, and I was 30,000 feet above them when they began. London did not heal me, not at first. London was rain, paperwork, narrow staircases, expensive groceries, and radiators that clanked at night like they were haunted by Victorian plumbers. London was getting lost twice on the underground because I took the wrong branch of the Northern Line. London was standing in a tiny grocery store aisle and crying because I could not find the brand of tea my grandmother used to drink. London was not freedom with a soundtrack, it was freedom with a SIM card problem. My room was on the third floor of a shared flat in Bloomsbury, with a desk facing a brick wall and a bed that creaked if I breathed too ambitiously. My flatmates were a doctoral student from Manchester who labeled oat milk like it was classified evidence, and a French architecture student who cooked at midnight while listening to opera. No one knew Nathan. That was the first gift. No one saw my bare ring finger and asked what happened. No one whispered about Chloe. No one had watched the video in London. I was not the girl who got slapped at the welcome party. I was the American fellow who arrived jet-lagged and over-prepared. I threw myself into work because work had clean rules. Read this, write that, attend seminar, submit response, show up on time. Do not confuse emotional collapse with identity. The International Media and Governance Fellowship placed me with a small research unit that monitored misinformation, public accountability, and political communication. The irony was not lost on me. On my third day, my supervisor, Amora Singh, handed me a stack of briefing papers and said, "We care about evidence here. Feelings are allowed, but they do not get footnotes." I liked her immediately. My first assignment was to trace how a false narrative moved through student forums after a campus protest. I spent 6 hours mapping screenshots, timestamps, reposts, edits, and deletions. It should have felt clinical. Instead, it felt familiar. I understood how stories mutated. I understood how a person with the right expression could bend a room. I understood how people preferred the version that required the least courage from them. At night, Nathan emailed at first, daily, then every few days, then in waves. Subject: I hope you landed safely. Subject: please confirm you're okay. Subject: I am doing the conduct program. Subject: Chloe withdrew from the media club. Subject: my mother wants to apologize. Subject: I know. You said no calls, but please. I made a folder called Nathan Archive. I did not read most of them. Maya read the important ones after asking permission. If something contained a threat, legal issue, or necessary update, she told me. If it was emotional flooding, she filed it away. You are allowed not to drown just because he keeps throwing buckets, she said over video chat. I loved her for that. My parents knew only part of the story at first. I told them Nathan and I had broken off the engagement. After he hurt me, my mother cried. My father went silent in the terrifying way quiet men do when anger has nowhere useful to go. They offered to fly to London. I told them not to. I need to build something here, I said. My mother said, then build. We will hold the ground behind you. That made me cry. After the call ended, grief came in stupid waves. I could present a flawless seminar argument at noon and fall apart at 9:00 p.m. because I saw a couple sharing fries outside a pub. I could go 3 days without thinking of Nathan's hands and then remember him brushing snow from my hair senior year of high school with such tenderness that I had to sit down. Healing was not linear, it was humiliatingly repetitive, but I did not call him, not once. 2 months after I arrived, Student Conduct sent final documentation for my records. Nathan had completed his mandated intervention but remained removed from leadership positions. The Harper Fellowship Committee had declined to move forward with him. Chloe had issued a written correction to statements she made about me, though it was not public beyond the conduct process. I read the letter at my desk in the research office. The words were formal. The impact was not. For weeks after the slap, Nathan had asked what this would do to him. Now we knew. It did not destroy his life. That mattered. Consequences rarely satisfy the wounded imagination. Nathan still had his family, his degree, his money, his face, his future. He would be fine, probably. Men like Nathan often were, but he did not get to be untouched. That was enough. Chloe emailed me once. Subject: I'm sorry. I opened it because curiosity is a flawed but persistent organ. Evelyn, I know you probably hate me. I did not understand how far things would go. I was insecure and Nathan made me feel safe. That does not excuse what I did. I am sorry for lying and for making you look unstable. I hope London is good to you. Chloe. I stared at it for a while, then I forwarded it to Maya. She replied, do we believe this or do we believe she found consequences and named them remorse? I typed back, both can be true. I did not respond to Chloe. My silence was not cruelty, it was a boundary. By winter, London became less hostile. I found a bakery that sold almond croissants warm enough to justify their price. I learned which bus route gave me the best view of the river. I became friends with a fellow researcher named Layla, who had survived a spectacular breakup with a man who stole her thesis idea and then dedicated his published paper to everyone who supported me. He cried at the launch event. She told me over noodles. I hope he dehydrated. Layla was good for me, not because she replaced Maya, no one could, but because she knew how to laugh at damage without minimizing it. I told her about Nathan slowly, in pieces. When I finally told her about the slap, she put down her chopsticks. Do you miss him? She asked. The question surprised me. Most people asked if I hated him. Missing was more embarrassing. Yes, I said. She nodded. Of course. Missing someone is not evidence they should return. I wrote that down later. In February, my first major research brief was published under my name, not Nathan's, not a shared project. Mine. Professor Grant emailed within an hour. Subject: there you are. I printed that email and taped it inside the green notebook. Nathan emailed the same day. Subject: I read your brief. I did not open it, but I knew Maya would, and later that night she called. He says it was brilliant. She said, okay. He says he recognizes your structure. I laughed once. Of course he does. He says he misses being the first person you sent drafts to. I looked around my little room. Rain streaked the window. My laptop glowed on the desk. My name sat on the published brief. He was not the first person because he earned it, I said. He was the first person because I put him there. Maya smiled through the screen. Look at you, look at me, I echoed. Spring arrived. Cautiously, I cut my hair to my shoulders, not because of symbolism, though Maya insisted haircuts after breakups were sacred rituals. I did it because London wind kept turning my long hair into an argument. I bought a red coat. I started running badly in Regent's Park. I learned to drink coffee without remembering the cup Nathan pushed toward me after hitting me. One April morning, Amora called me into her office. We're submitting your name for the International Youth Media Forum this fall, she said. I blinked. Me? Yes, you, as a staff participant, as a panel speaker. I almost laughed. On what topic? Public accountability in closed institutions, campus systems, private power, reputation management. You have strong research instincts there. The room tilted. I looked at the floor. Amora waited. She did not know the full story. She knew I had transferred into the fellowship after a personal crisis. She knew I kept unusually careful records. She knew I hated vague language around misconduct. She did not know my expertise had a palm print. Evelyn, she said, gentler. You do not have to say yes. That helped me say it. Yes. The forum was 6 months away. I had no idea Nathan would be there. Not then. At the end of summer, Maya visited London. I met her at Heathrow and nearly knocked her over hugging her. She cried again. I cried too. Then she complained about the exchange rate for 45 minutes, which restored balance. We spent a week walking everywhere. I showed her my office, my bakery, my favorite bench by the river. She met Layla and immediately formed an alliance based on mutual hatred of men who used apologies as fishing hooks. On her last night, we sat in my room drinking cheap wine from mugs because my flat had only 2 wine glasses and one had mysteriously vanished during the French students' dinner party. Maya asked, do you think you'll ever talk to him again? I looked at the open window. London hummed below. I don't know. She nodded. I don't want him back, I said. I know, but sometimes I want him to understand. Maya's face softened. That's the hardest hook. Yes, because if he understands, then it means the pain finally has a witness. I swallowed. She continued. But Eve, he saw your face that night. He saw it before anyone else. Understanding was available from the beginning. I closed my eyes. There it was, the truth I kept circling. Nathan did not need more access to understand me. He had needed less selfishness. In September, the forum schedule was released. My name appeared on panel 3, Institutions, Silence, and Reputation. 2 names below mine appeared. Nathan Reed, Reed Family Civic Foundation. For a full minute, I could not breathe properly. Then my phone rang. Maya, I saw, she said. Of course she had. I sat on the edge of my bed. His coming, yes. Did he know I'd be there? Maybe. I opened my email. There it was, a message from Nathan sent 12 minutes after the schedule went live. Subject: London Forum. Evelyn, I did not know you were speaking when our foundation accepted the invitation. I will respect your boundaries. I just wanted you to hear that from me directly. Nathan, I read it 3 times. Respect your boundaries, a phrase he had learned after losing access. I closed the email. Maya said, what do you want to do? I looked at my notes for the panel. Public accountability, institutional silence, reputation management, the cost of private pressure. I'm going to speak, I said. My voice was steadier than I felt. Maya exhaled. Hell yes, you are. The forum was in 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, I prepared like a woman sharpening glass, not to hurt Nathan, To make sure seeing him did not turn me back into someone smaller, the International Youth Media Forum was held in a glass building near the Thames, the kind of place where every surface reflected you whether you wanted it to or not. I arrived early. That was one of the habits I kept from the old me, but now it served me instead of someone else. I checked the panel room, tested the microphone, reviewed my notes, and placed a glass of water beside my name card. Evelyn Hart, not Nathan's fiancée, not the girl from the video, not the woman who left, just my name. I touched the edge of the card once and let myself feel proud. The room filled slowly. Journalists, students, non-profit staff, policy researchers, donors, people with lanyards and opinions. Amora sat in the second row. Layla sat beside her, giving me 2 thumbs up with the solemnity of a surgeon. Then Nathan walked in. I knew before I looked it was ridiculous, the way the body remembered a person. Some old part of me registered him like weather. He entered with 2 older foundation representatives. He wore a dark suit, no tie, hair shorter than before. He looked older, not dramatically, just less untouched. His eyes found me immediately. He stopped for half a second, then he nodded. I nodded back. That was all. No music stopped, no room gasped. No one knew that once, in another country, he had hit me beneath party lights and asked me to apologize for bleeding into his perfect night. He took a seat near the back. I looked down at my notes. My hands were steady. Good. The panel began with introductions. The moderator, a BBC producer named Claire Morton, asked each of us to define accountability in institutional settings. The first speaker talked about newsroom corrections, the second discussed university transparency. Then Claire turned to me. Evelyn, your research focuses on informal reputation management in elite academic spaces. How do silence and private pressure shape public narratives? I leaned toward the microphone. In many institutions, I said, silence is presented as maturity. Victims are told they are protecting the community by staying quiet. They are asked to consider a promising future, a family name, a donor relationship, a leadership pipeline. But what is often called discretion is really the transfer of consequence from the person who caused harm to the person harmed. The room went still, not silent in the shocked way of the party, silent in the listening way. I continued, public accountability does not require public cruelty. It requires accurate records, fair process, and refusal to rename harm for someone else's comfort. A slap does not become an unfortunate interaction because the person who delivered it has a bright future. A lie does not become a misunderstanding because the liar cries well, and an apology does not become repair unless it accepts cost. My eyes did not move to Nathan. I did not need them to. I felt the room shift. Claire asked, you use strong language there. Do you think institutions often soften language deliberately? Yes, I said. Soft language is one of the first shelters power builds for itself. Someone in the audience murmured approval. I saw Amora smile. Layla looked ready to start a small revolution. The panel continued for 40 minutes. I answered questions about reporting systems, student conduct, donor influence, and documentation. I did not mention Nathan by name. I did not mention myself as an example. I did not need confession to speak with authority. Afterward, people came up to talk. A graduate student said my comments helped her rethink a case at her university. A journalist asked for a quote. An organizer invited me to submit an essay. I spoke, exchanged cards, smiled, breathed. Nathan waited. I saw him near the back wall, not approaching. For once, he seemed to understand that access was not assumed. Then Chloe appeared. I had not known she would be there. She looked different too, more polished, more careful. Her hair was darker, cut shorter. She wore a cream blazer that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. Her name tag identified her as part of a youth communications nonprofit. For a second, the old anger flared bright. Then I saw Sienna behind her. Sienna Blake, of all people, stood near the coffee station wearing a press badge. Maya would have screamed if she were there. Chloe saw me and froze. Nathan saw Chloe and went rigid. The air between the three of us tightened with the absurd geometry of old damage. Chloe approached first. Evelyn, she said. No, I replied. She stopped. That was all it took now. No explanation, no apology performance, no hallway scene, just no. Her face flushed. Sienna appeared beside us, eyes moving between me and Chloe. Interesting panel, Sienna said to me. Thank you. Chloe looked at Sienna. Can we not do this here? Sienna's mouth curved. Do what? Document. Chloe paled. Nathan stepped closer but still kept distance. Chloe, leave her alone. Chloe turned on him. Do not pretend you're noble now. A few people nearby glanced over. Chloe noticed and lowered her voice. You were happy to let me take the blame when things got bad. Nathan's face hardened. You lied. You wanted to believe me. Yes, he said. That is on me. I looked at him then. That was new, not enough. But new. Chloe laughed softly. How convenient. You get to grow, and I get to be the manipulative girl. Sienna said. You did manipulate people. Chloe's eyes flashed. You sent private messages. You faked a wrist injury. A woman nearby turned. Chloe's face went white. I stepped back. This was no longer mine to carry. Nathan looked at me, maybe expecting me to intervene, maybe afraid I would leave. I did leave. I walked to the refreshment table and poured water into a paper cup. My pulse was fast, but not wild. Layla appeared beside me. Was that them? I took a sip. Yes. Do we hate them? We are professionally indifferent. Layla looked over my shoulder. I am personally flexible. I smiled. Across the room, Chloe was speaking in a sharp whisper to Sienna. Nathan stood apart from them, face tight. Claire Morton approached me then. Evelyn, do you have a minute for a short recorded comment? Yes. She led me to a quieter corner. The question was simple. What do you want institutions to understand about accountability? I answered without notes. That people harmed by misconduct are often asked to be patient, graceful, and silent while everyone else evaluates the cost of truth. But the cost of silence is also real. It shows up in careers delayed, rooms avoided, opportunities declined, and lives reorganized around someone else's reputation. Accountability is not revenge. It is the minimum structure that allows people to stop living inside someone else's denial. When I finished, Claire lowered the recorder. That was excellent, she said behind her. Nathan stood still. He had heard every word. Good. The forum reception began at 6. I planned to stay 30 minutes, then leave. I had survived the panel. I did not need to test fate. I was speaking with Amora near the balcony when Nathan approached. He stopped at a respectful distance. Evelyn, he said. Amora looked at me. My choice, I told her quietly. She nodded and stepped away. But not far. Nathan noticed. A sad smile moved across his face. You have good people. I do. You always did. I said nothing. He looked toward the river through the glass wall. Lights trembled on the water. You were incredible today, he said. Thank you. I mean it. I know. He swallowed. I didn't come to ask for anything. I almost believed him. Then he continued. I just wanted to say I understand more now. I looked at him. More. His face tightened. I know. Not enough. Too late. But more. A waiter passed with champagne. Neither of us took one. Nathan said. My mother wanted me to stay away from this forum. She said seeing you would make things messy. I almost smiled. Audrey dislikes mess. She still calls what happened a misunderstanding. That sounds like her. I don't let her anymore. That surprised me. He continued. I corrected her last Thanksgiving. In front of my father, she said, that unfortunate situation with Evelyn, and I said, you mean when I hit her and tried to make her sign an NDA? I looked at him. His eyes were steady, pained, but steady. What happened? I asked despite myself. My father left the table. My mother didn't speak to me for 2 weeks. And you? I survived. There was no triumph in his voice, just knowledge. I felt something loosen in my chest. Not forgiveness, not trust, maybe the quiet relief of seeing truth exist somewhere outside my own records. I'm glad you said it, I told him. His eyes flickered. Hope. I hated how fast it appeared, so I added, for yourself, not for me. The hope dimmed. He nodded. Right. We stood in silence. Then he said, Chloe reached out to me before the forum. Why? She wanted us to present a united front if questions came up. I stared. He gave a humorless laugh. I know. What did you say? I said there is no united front built on a lie. I believed him. That was inconvenient. Nathan said. She's been trying to rebuild her image. My family foundation invitation made her think. He stopped. It doesn't matter. It does if your foundation helped her. His face tightened. My mother recommended her non-profit for a youth communications slot. Of course, Audrey. Again, a woman committed to replacing evidence with aesthetics. Does your board know about her conduct finding? I asked. His expression changed. No. Then they should. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he nodded. I'll disclose it. I did not thank him. Basic integrity no longer earned applause from me. Someone called his name from across the room, one of the foundation representatives. Nathan looked back, then at me. I meant what I said, he told me. I'm not asking for anything. Good, he smiled sadly. But I miss you. There it was, the line between accountability and desire. I took one breath. I know. I miss the person I was with you. You need to be careful with that sentence. He frowned. I said, you may miss the person who made you feel better than you were. He took that like a physical blow for a moment. I regretted saying it, then I did not. The truth was not cruelty because it hurt. He nodded slowly. Maybe, a year ago, he would have argued that mattered, still not enough. He said, I have regretted that night every day. I looked at him, really looked. There was no performance in his face now, no audience to convince, no Chloe behind him, no Audrey steering the room, just Nathan, the boy I loved, the man who hit me, the stranger who had spent a year learning the shape of consequence. I believe you, I said. His breath caught, then I finished. But regret does not reopen what violence closed. His eyes shone. He nodded. I know, this time. I thought he might. I left the reception 20 minutes later. Outside, London was damp and bright and cold. My phone buzzed as I walked toward the station. An unknown number. I ignored it, then a message appeared. Unknown. It's Nathan. I know I said I wouldn't ask for anything. I'm sorry. Could we talk once before I leave London? One call, if not in person. 10 minutes. Please. I stopped beneath a street lamp. The old Evelyn would have answered because he said please. The wounded Evelyn would have answered because she wanted him to suffer out loud. The new Evelyn did neither. I put the phone in my pocket and kept walking. Nathan's first request was polite. His second was desperate. By the next morning, there were 3 missed calls from the unknown number and 1 email. Subject: one conversation. Evelyn, I know I am crossing a line by asking again. I do not know how else to carry this. Seeing you yesterday made me realize there are things I never said fully, not to defend myself, not to change your mind. I just need you to hear them once. If you do not want to meet, please give me one call. 10 minutes. Nathan. I read it while standing in my kitchen, waiting for toast to burn because the toaster in our flat had 2 settings, bread and charcoal. Layla walked in wearing a robe and 1 sock. You look like you are reading either tax news or a man's apology, she said. The second, worse. She poured coffee and leaned against the counter. Do you want advice or witness? Witness. Excellent. Advice is tiring before caffeine. I handed her the phone. She read silently, eyebrows climbing, then she gave it back. Do you want to hear him? I stared at the screen. That was the question, not should I, not did he deserve it, did I want to. Part of me did, not the loving part. Exactly, the unfinished part. The part that had left a country with his voice cracking behind airport security. The part that still had his unread letter in a folder. The part that wanted every wound named by the person who caused it. But another part of me knew Nathan's need to be heard could easily become my old assignment: translate him, comfort him, witness his growth, reward his remorse. I had resigned from that job. I don't know, I said. Layla nodded. Then do not decide while hungry. Practical, wise. I ate toast with the burnt edges scraped off and went to work. The forum had generated attention. Claire Morton's recorded comment was posted online, and by midday, clips from the panel circulated among academic and media circles. My inbox filled with requests for the full research brief. Then came a message from a journalist. Dear Evelyn, I'm writing a follow-up on institutional misconduct and reputation management among youth leadership organizations. Several attendees mentioned there may be a relevant case involving former student leaders at your university. Would you be willing to comment? I stared at it. This was the moment the Reeds had feared, not because I had chased it, because truth, once recorded, sometimes found public doors on its own. I forwarded the message to Amora and Professor Grant, asking for advice. Amora replied first, you are not obligated to become the face of your own harm. If you choose to comment, do it on your terms. If you decline, that is also a choice with dignity. Professor Grant replied 10 minutes later, do not speak while angry. Do not stay silent because someone taught you fear. Decide from freedom. I printed both and put them in my notebook. At lunch, Nathan called again. I declined. He texted, Nathan, I'm sorry, I know I'm pushing. I leave tomorrow morning. I did not reply. Nathan, I disclosed Chloe's conduct finding to the foundation board. That made me pause. Nathan, her panel invitation is being reviewed. Another message. Nathan, my mother is furious. I almost smiled. Then Nathan, I should have done it without wanting you to know. I know that. I'm telling you anyway because I am still selfish. But less dishonest. I stared at that one longer. Less dishonest. That was probably the most accurate thing Nathan had ever written. I did not reply that evening. The foundation removed Chloe from the forum's youth communications roundtable. The official reason was failure to disclose prior conduct findings relevant to organizational trust. Chloe emailed me within an hour. Subject: Are you happy now? I did not open it. Maya did, with my permission, over video call. She read aloud in a dramatic villain voice until I told her to stop laughing. Chloe accused me of destroying women instead of supporting them. She said I had used one mistake to brand her forever. She said Nathan had ruined both of us. She said I should understand what it felt like to be judged. Maya lowered the phone. Want me to summarize? No, she remains allergic to accountability. File it. With pleasure. After the call, I walked along the river alone. London at night had become one of my safest places. Not because it was actually safe in some magical way, because no memory owned it before me. Every bridge, every light, every wet stone belonged to the life I built after leaving. My phone buzzed. Nathan. This time, I answered the text. Me. Send whatever you want to say in writing. He replied within seconds. Nathan. I have tried. It all sounds wrong. Me. Then sit with that. Nathan. Please. Evelyn. Me. No call tonight. Nathan. Tomorrow. I stopped walking. A boat moved darkly across the river. I typed me. No promise. Then I put the phone away at 9:30 p.m. Nathan sent a voice message 7 minutes and 12 seconds. I did not play it at 10:15. Another 4 minutes at 10:41. An email. Subject: If you never listen, Evelyn. If you never listen to the voice messages, I understand. I am writing this because I need at least one version of the truth to leave my body without asking you to hold it. I hit you because I was angry and humiliated, and because, in that moment, I believed my public image mattered more than your safety. Chloe lied. But I chose to believe her because her version made me feel needed and your version required me to confront myself. I asked you to apologize because I wanted the room to return to normal, even if normal meant you swallowing pain. My mother tried to replace you before I admitted I was losing you. She liked Chloe because Chloe admired the Reed name. You knew too much about us. You knew I was not as brilliant as everyone thought. You knew how much of my work was yours. You knew my fear. I think part of me resented you for seeing me clearly. That is not your fault. I have wanted to call you because I miss you, but also because I want relief. I am trying to be honest about that. I want to hear your voice because I think some part of me still believes you can make me feel human again. That is not your responsibility. I am sorry I made you afraid of my hand. I am sorry I made you leave a room full of people with blood on your mouth. I am sorry I let you leave the country with my apology still shaped like self-defense. I love you. I know that changes nothing. Nathan. I read it once, then again, then I closed my laptop and sat very still. There it was, everything I had once wanted: specificity, responsibility. No Chloe as shield, no Audrey as excuse, no you made me. No, it was complicated. Just truth, and it did not fix me. That was the part nobody told you. Sometimes the apology comes. Sometimes it is real. Sometimes it says the exact words your wound had been waiting for, and still, the door stays closed. I cried that night, not because I wanted him back, because some grief only leaves when it has been correctly named. The next morning, Nathan stood outside the media center after my final forum workshop. It was raining, of course it was. He held no umbrella. Very dramatic, very Nathan. But he looked less like he was staging pain and more like he had forgotten weather existed. I stopped under the awning. You have 5 minutes, I said. He looked startled, then grateful. Thank you. This is not a call, I know. And it is not a beginning. Pain moved through his face. I know. He stood in the rain. I stayed dry under the awning. The boundary was almost too obvious. He said, I'm leaving for the airport in an hour. Okay. I sent the email because you were right. I wanted relief. Yes, I still do. I know. He laughed once. Broken. You always did. No, I said. I guessed. Then I worked. Then I overworked. Then I called it knowing you. He looked down. Rain darkened his coat. I don't know how to apologize without asking something from you. He said, that is a good thing to learn. I'm trying. I hope you keep trying. His eyes lifted. There it was. Again, hope. I hated hope when it asked me to become a bridge. Nathan, I said gently. For yourself. He nodded, jaw tight. For myself. We stood in silence, he said. I lost the foundation role, I had not known. The board decided after the Chloe disclosure and renewed attention from the forum that I should step back from public programs. I'm sorry, I said. I was not sorry enough to feel responsible. That distinction mattered. He seemed to understand it. I am not telling you so you'll feel guilty. Good, I would have, once, yes. He looked at me with a small, painful smile. You're very hard to impress now. I'm not looking to be impressed. What are you looking for? Peace. The answer came easily. His face changed. Maybe because he finally understood that peace did not include him. He wiped rain from his forehead. Can I ask one selfish thing? You can ask, I may say no. He breathed in. One call. Not now, not emotional, not to ask you back. Just sometime, when you're ready. I want to hear your voice without a train station, airport, or hallway between us. I looked at him. There was the title of our ending. Standing in the rain. One call, so small, so enormous. A call could be 10 minutes, a call could be a relapse, a call could be closure, a call could be him placing his grief in my lap and me, by old reflex, making room. I thought of the coffee shop, the latte I did not drink, the bank, the airport, the forum, the green notebook, Maya sleeping in my chair, my mother saying she would hold the ground behind me, Professor Grant saying I did not owe anyone my destruction, London, with all its rain and wrong trains and expensive bread, asking nothing from me except that I live. No, I said. The word was quiet. It landed anyway. Nathan closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were wet, though rain made that less clear. Never. I don't know what life will look like in 10 years, I said, but I will not give you a promise to keep you warm. He nodded slowly. That's fair. The word sounded different from him now, not accusation, recognition. He stepped back. I hope London is good to you, he said. It already is. I'm glad. He turned to leave, then stopped without looking back. He said, you were not hard to love, Evelyn. I was bad at loving. My throat tightened. He walked away before I could answer. That was probably the kindest thing he had done since the slap. He left me with a truth and did not ask me to comfort him for it. My phone buzzed an hour later. A voice message. Nathan, I'm at the airport. I won't call again after this unless you ask me to. I'm sorry for all of it. I hope one day you remember more than the worst thing I did. But if you don't, I earned that. I saved it, not in Nathan archive, in a new folder. Closed doors. For 3 weeks after Nathan left London, he kept his promise. No calls, no emails, no unknown numbers. The silence should have felt peaceful immediately. It did not at first. It felt like standing after loud music stops. My ears rang with absence. I checked my phone more than I wanted to admit. Not because I wanted him to contact me, because my nervous system had become used to invasion and did not know what to do with respect. That embarrassed me. Then I forgave myself. Recovery is full of humiliating habits your body learned honestly. Chloe's removal from the forum produced a small wave of professional gossip. A few anonymous posts tried to frame it as old campus drama, but Sienna published a careful piece about accountability, false victim narratives, and the danger of weaponized fragility. She did not name me. She did not name Chloe. She did not need to. Priya back at our university wrote a follow-up editorial about donor influence in student discipline, citing policy gaps and the importance of transparent processes. Again, no names. But people knew the Reeds could not sue a policy argument. That was the beauty of accuracy. Audrey Reed sent one final email. Subject, enough Evelyn. Whatever satisfaction you have gained from this, I hope it was worth the damage. Nathan has lost opportunities he worked years to earn. Chloe has been publicly humiliated. Our family has been dragged into conversations that should have remained private. I once believed you had grace, Audrey. I read it once. Then I did something the old me never could have done. I replied, Mrs. Reed, Nathan lost opportunities because of his actions. Chloe lost opportunities because of her actions. Your family entered the conversation when you attempted to use private pressure to prevent accountability. Grace is not silence. Do not contact me again, Evelyn Hart. I blocked her email after sending it. Then I went to work. The day was ordinary. That was another gift. I edited a report, ate soup at my desk, argued with Layla about whether a headline was too soft, took the bus home because rain made the underground smell like wet wool and despair. At home, a package waited outside my door. No return name. For 1 second, my stomach tightened. Then I recognized Maya's handwriting. Inside was a framed photo of us from her London visit, standing on the bridge, wind ruining our hair, both of us laughing. Beneath it, she had written, "Proof of life after plot twists." I placed it on my desk, not face down. A week later, Claire Morton's forum piece went live. My quote appeared near the end: "Accountability is not revenge. It is the minimum structure that allows people to stop living inside someone else's denial." The line spread further than I expected. Emails came from students, advocates, researchers, strangers. Some shared stories. Some asked for advice I was not qualified to give. Some simply said, "Thank you." I answered what I could and directed the rest to resources. I was careful. I refused to become a symbol at the cost of being a person. Amora noticed. "You are learning boundaries at professional speed," she said. I had an accelerated course, I assumed. She offered me a longer contract at the research unit after the fellowship ended. 6 months, maybe more. I said yes before fear could ask Nathan's opinion from the grave of old habits. That night, I walked along the river and called my parents. My mother cried again. My father asked practical questions about salary, housing, and whether my building had reliable locks. Love, in his language. After the call, I stood by the railing and watched the water move dark under the lights. My phone rang, unknown number. My body reacted before my mind did. I knew, I do not know how, maybe some part of old pain recognized its own weather. I let it ring. It stopped. A voicemail appeared. I stood still for a long moment, then I played it. Nathan's voice came through, rough and quiet. "Evelyn, I know I promised not to call unless you asked. I'm sorry, I'm breaking that promise. And I know that matters. My grandmother died this morning. I don't know why I'm calling you except that for 7 years, you were the person I called when something broke. That is not fair to you. I know, He stopped. I heard him breathe. "I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm not asking you to call back. I just wanted to hear your voicemail, which is pathetic and selfish. I'm sorry. I won't do this again. I hope you're well." The message ended. I stood beside the river with the phone in my hand. His grandmother, I remembered her, Helen Reed, sharp-tongued and funny, the only person in Nathan's family who ever seemed fully alive. She had once pulled me aside during Christmas dinner and said, "If Audrey asks whether you want advice, say no, it saves 20 minutes. I had liked her. I grieved her, a little, and I grieved the fact that Nathan still reached for me when something broke. My thumb hovered over the call button. One call. A death was different, wasn't it? A death softened rules. A death made silence feel cruel. I stood there for a long time, then I opened my contacts and called Maya. She answered on the second ring. "What happened?" I told her. She was quiet, then she said, "What do you want to do?" "I don't know." "Yes, you do. You're just afraid the answer makes you cruel." Tears filled my eyes. "I'm sorry his grandmother died." "Of course you are. I don't want to hurt him. You not being available for his grief is not the same as hurting him." I pressed my hand to my mouth. Maya continued gently. "Eve, he named it himself. He called because you used to be the person when something broke, but he broke that access." I closed my eyes. There it was, simple, brutal, true. "I can send a message," I said. "You can." "Should I?" "I won't decide for you." I laughed weakly. Annoying. I learned boundaries from this woman I admire. After we hung up, I typed a message to Nathan's email, not his phone. "Nathan, I am sorry for your loss. Your grandmother was kind to me, and I remember her with respect. I hope you and your family have support around you. Please do not call me again, Evelyn." I read it 3 times, then I sent it. No call, not because I hated him, because compassion did not require reopening access. The next day, he replied, "Thank you, I understand. I will not call again." And this time, he did not. Months passed. My fellowship became a contract. My contract became a role. My role became a life with routines I had chosen: Sunday markets, Thursday deadlines, monthly video calls with Maya, long walks when I felt too much, short emails when I meant no. I dated once, badly, a climate policy analyst who spent 20 minutes explaining blockchain to me over tappers. I did not see him again. I did not feel like a failure. That was growth too. I was not waiting for a new man to prove Nathan had lost something valuable. I was valuable when Nathan had me. I was valuable when he lost me. I was valuable alone in a small London room eating cereal for dinner because I forgot to shop. A year after the slap, the university invited alumni and fellows to contribute essays for a digital series on ethical leadership. Professor Grant forwarded the invitation with a note, Only if you want to. I wrote an essay titled The Record We Keep. I did not mention Nathan. I wrote about language, evidence, silence, and the quiet violence of being asked to protect the future of someone who harmed you. I wrote about leaving not as escape, but as evidence that a different life was possible. The essay went up in May. Nathan read it. I knew because he sent one email. Subject: Your essay, Evelyn. I read it. It was excellent. I recognized myself where I should. I will not ask for a call. I just wanted to say that. Nathan. I did not reply, but I did not shake when I saw his name. That mattered. At the end of that summer, Maya visited again. This time, we did not talk about Nathan until the third night. We were sitting on the floor of my slightly larger flat, eating takeout Thai food from containers because I still did not own enough bowls. Maya looked at the framed bridge photo on my shelf. You look happy here, she said. Are you happy now? I thought about it. Not the dramatic version of happy, not constant joy, not healed into perfection, but I had a job that used my mind, friends who did not require performance, a city that no longer felt like emergency shelter, a phone that did not make me flinch, a future that did not need Nathan's approval. Yes, I said, I think I am. Maya smiled. Good. I reached into the drawer beside me and took out the envelope. The ring was still inside. I had kept it through the conduct process, through London, through the forum, through Nathan's calls, through every stage of becoming someone who no longer needed to hold evidence every day. Maya stared. You still have it? Yes. Why? I think I was waiting until it stopped feeling powerful, and I opened the envelope and tipped the ring into my palm. It was beautiful. That annoyed me. A small diamond, simple band, elegant setting. Nathan had chosen well. Or maybe Audrey had. I never asked once. This ring meant I had been chosen, then it meant I had been betrayed, then it meant proof. Now it was just metal and stone. It stopped, I said. Maya's eyes softened. What are you going to do with it? Send it back. Not throw it into the Thames. No. Shame. Very cinematic. I'm done giving him cinematic endings. The next morning, I mailed the ring to Nathan's last known address with no return address on the outside and one note inside. This never belonged to me. After that night, that was all. No explanation, no invitation, no cruelty. A week later, he emailed. Subject: I received it. I did not open the email immediately. I made coffee first, took a shower, answered 3 work messages, ate toast that was only slightly burned, then I opened it. Evelyn, I received the ring. You were right. It stopped belonging to you that night because I stopped being someone worthy of giving it. I am sorry. I will not write again. Nathan, I read it once, then I archived it. Not deleted. Archived. The difference mattered to me. Deleting felt like pretending. Archiving felt like putting history where it belonged. That evening, I walked to the river. London was unusually clear. The sky held a pale gold light, and the water moved like folded glass. People passed with dogs, groceries, flowers, phones, ordinary burdens. My phone buzzed. For one strange second, I thought of Nathan, but it was Maya. Maya, did you throw the ring into Mount Doom? Me. Mailed it. Maya, less dramatic, more legally tidy. Very you. Me. Thank you, Maya. Proud of you. I looked at the words for a long time, then I typed back. Me. Proud of me too. I put the phone away. Across the river, lights came on one by one. I thought of the welcome party, the slap, the silence after, my ring in my fist, Nathan saying, don't make this worse. I had not made it worse. I had made it exact enough to survive denial, exact enough to leave, exact enough to build a life where a man's regret did not decide the size of my future. The phone did not ring again, and if one day it did, if Nathan forgot his final promise, or grief made him selfish, or memory made him weak, I knew what I would do. I would let it ring. I would let it end. I would keep walking because the night he slapped me for the new transfer girl, he thought he was choosing between 2 women. He was wrong. He was choosing between the version of me who would stay and the version of me who would finally see him clearly. He chose for both of us. I left the country. He begged for one call, and I learned that freedom sometimes sounds like a phone you do not pick up.